you from the Radio for One studios in Franklin, Michigan. Welcome to the Detroit Cast.
Big fan. Big fan.
A show not just free of charge, but free of FCC regulations.
Thank you for your support of the Detroit Cast.
Oh, there it is.
And without further delay, it's showtime. Please welcome the Detroit Cast. Here are your hosts, Mike and Jay.
Well, shake off that salt, sir. Hello, all. Welcome to the Detroit Cast. Mike and Jay and Big E. How are you, buddy?
Hello, Miguel. I'm well. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
It's nice to have a day off yesterday, but we're back at it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We had a day off, obviously, because it was Easter. I guess there were some issues with our the best of posting
Yeah.
to the podcast apps or something, but those have been reposted. So if you wanted to hear it, go to our website, or it should be on your podcast apps now.
What'd you think of the best of, Mike?
I thought production-wise, it was much, much better than anything we've had before.
Far better.
It's still hard for me to listen to any of those. I nitpick everything that we do. I thought you came off pretty well, honestly.
Well, it's the best
E
stuff.
came off as E. Right. It's the best of. So I thought I came off like shit. But
What are you talking
other than
about?
that, I don't know.
What do you mean came off?
Well.
You're just talking about the bits that were selected?
Yeah. No, it's fine. When I can so hear a big difference between our older
mics.
episodes. Yeah, all of it. I can just hear a big difference in where we are as a show, as a team. Like, so all of that stuff really stands out to me when I listen to that. But whatever, it's
Yeah, there was some really old stuff in there.
yeah. but production wise, yeah, no doubt, it's very good. So thank you to our guest producer on that one. No thanks to Big E.
No thanks to Big E.
Yeah. How was your guys' Easter weekend?
It's great.
Yeah.
Started Friday with E and my double date.
Yep.
Went to the Pistons game. E took his friend TCG.
His quote friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Partner, friend, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah.
Friend.
What'd you think of that, E?
It was all right. It was good.
Yeah, thanks to Alex again for the tickets.
Did you guys have good seats?
They were good.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I hadn't been to a Pistons game in a long time. Man, there's a lot going on during those games.
Oh yeah.
I
When
know-
he's shooting t-shirts into the crowd and all that stuff.
I know that's been sort of the criticism of Gora's a little bit, and also something that people note is just how he's turned it into kind of like a circus, a three-ring
The
circus
problem
going
is,
on.
I think you have to until your team is good.
Agreed.
That's the.
Yeah, but they were
I don't need
doing
it.
that stuff. If you went to any of those games when they were on their championship run,
They had the fat tires. Remember they had those fat guys
Oh, that's
dancing
right.
and stuff.
they had that. They would fly little blimps
blimp.
around and drop shit, and then they'd always have the t-shirt guys firing. So
this
it was
is
kind of a
this
circus.
is a different level to me, though.
Was it?
Yeah, there were a lot more cheerleaders around, T-shirts going everywhere.
See, I
they had
think-
Uncle Cracker up in the rafters singing.
Well, that was
Yeah.
awesome, by the way. I actually really was pumped about that. But that's something that I think maybe it's not as striking to me because I've gone to at least a few games every year since whenever I started going. I've never gone a year without going to a game. So maybe it's not as like the concert series. I even before like Thursday before that game thought, oh, you know what? That's a Friday game. They might have a concert because they've been doing that very, very regularly the last few years.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why it just didn't shock me as much. But
Oh, the Pistons were badass that evening. Just
What did they won? Like 5 or 6 in a row?
they
At
had
home?
I think
They
that was their
had
fifth
one.
in a row, and then they lost the next night. But
Yeah.
they couldn't miss, man. It was like, oh my god, they're up by like 22, like right off the bat, and then just cruised.
So it was the next night that they were wearing the black and gray.
Correct.
Yeah,
yeah.
where they lost.
I gotta, the thing is, this is no shock, dude. Anyone's been to the Palace, but I know he's talking about with the pomp and circumstance, I guess that they do now.
More pomp
Right? Sure,
and circumstance, but circumstance too.
for
I agree.
sure. But the Palace, dude, like you just look at that, like, why would you leave the Palace? All this talk
He's
about
not gonna.
leaving
He's
the
not gonna.
Palace,
Yeah.
you have to pay. You're pretty much in an area where you're forced to get all the parking income. There's mild ways to avoid it, like you can park technically across from that bar, but for the most part, 90% of people are paying to park. It's your arena, you own it, so everything that comes in is your money.
I know. He
Why would
owns that arena. No
Why-
shit.
Yeah. And he's done like
It's
what
50
tens
millions.
of millions of dollars in
50
renovations.
million just last year, last couple of years. It's a great arena. I've said that many times on
Yeah.
the show. I really like the Palace.
It's
I
great,
also love
dude.
that it takes me 5 minutes to get home.
Well,
from
of course.
Yeah, that's nice. It's amazing how good it still looks. That place is 20 some years
it
old. at
opened
this
in
point.
'89, I believe.
89.
It was
Okay.
it opened.
Wait, so the 89-90 championship was at the Palace,
first
not at the
championship,
Silver. Okay,
yes.
all right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that goes back a long time. I don't know what the life expectancy of an arena is, but
Well, and
it still looks really clean and
It's
and
awesome.
the
Well, it's
quarters
never
are
gone-
fairly wide.
In my opinion, I know some people said right before he took it over, it had gone a little under, but I don't think it's ever gone completely. It's never completely needed a redo
No, it's
because
got
they've
the
always
fun-
constantly done some amount of effort to keep it up.
It's got the fundamental design of the lower level suites that everybody after the Palace was built put in
Right.
their arena. So it's got that fundamental key design there, and then they just freshen stuff up by adding areas, atrium areas and stuff. And the bars are, they look bigger and more open and freshened up. They're good.
So how was it?
Oh,
This,
geez.
this was
Now, here's
this
the real
was
question.
was
Oh.
this the first time that you've been in charge of babysitting Big E where I wasn't a part of the mix
I
for
think-
like a date night?
Yeah, I don't think I'd been out in the wild with Big E alone. I don't think.
I
How
feel
did
bad.
it how was it? Now,
Well,
if you go back to the problem, like when you go, Michigan Notre Dame was my first, like I'd been around Big E plenty and been annoyed by him. I used to send him home all the time, and that even took 2 hours. Be like, E, the show's over, go home.
It's 1 o'clock.
And
Go
we had
home.
like rules that like, dude, the show's gonna end at 10:30 or 11, and you need to be out the door by 11:05 because adults have work to do.
right.
And then like noon, he'd still be kicking around. Dude, I know. E, you need to go now. It's time for you to go home. Okay, I know. And then he'd finally leave. So that Michigan Notre Dame game was the first time where it was like, we have tickets and E's going with me, and it was a fucking nightmare because he doesn't shut up.
No, did he describe everything he saw? Because that's how he was at the Palace.
Dude,
everything he saw, he
was in a bad
Describe
position.
it.
He was in a really bad position that night because it was being the first night game. It was the first game of those big new screens they had too. So I
Yeah.
kept talking to him about the new screens.
You were very
Weren't they
excited.
retiring Desmond's number
Yes,
too?
that
Wasn't
was
like a big ceremony for Desmond.
It was the
Howard
first
that
night of the Legends jerseys.
Yes.
the Legend number jerseys.
It was a big deal, and it was arguably one of the greatest games in the history of Michigan
Big
football.
comeback, right? Michigan
Huge
wins it,
comeback. Was that Robinson at quarterback?
Yeah, dude, that was the game where honestly the first half did suck. The first half sucked
No, I thought that
anyway. In
was
fact,
the
the
next
first three
guy.
quarters.
Number
sucked.
98, I thought took over that. I thought
No,
that was
no.
his-
No.
It was definitely
Okay.
Yeah,
whatever.
Robinson.
But that was where Michigan, literally in the last 3 minutes, finally, Michigan got a touchdown to go up with like a minute and a half to go. Notre Dame rushed down, got a touchdown with like 30 seconds to go, and then
To take
Michigan
the
scored
lead.
right in front of us for the game-winning touchdown. Right where you would have been, Mike. Right
And I was
He
gone.
would have been.
I was instead in Drew and Matt Riley's garage watching the end of that game right across the street from
Oh, I
the
didn't
stadium.
realize. I thought you even went home. I didn't realize.
I
you
think I went over there and was just like, watch the end of the game, something like that. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure that's what I did.
Gotcha.
But I couldn't sit with him any longer because it's like, I just want to watch the game. I don't care what Joe Fan thinks. And Joe Fan wants to yell shit out, and he's just nonstop on and on and on. So it made it, I was just like, dude, have fun. Enjoy the rest of the game. I'm out of here. So what was your experience like with him? Was it
yeah,
good or bad?
No, well, I talked about the seating arrangement, the planned seating.
Failed
seating
kind of
chart,
right off
You
the bat.
failed, didn't
Yeah,
you?
I couldn't do that to Gab.
Yeah.
I ended up putting her on the end.
You put her through enough, Jay.
I know. Then I sat next to her, and then E was next to me, and then TCG. So we did have
We had enough room to have a buffer.
we did have a buffer seat, which was nice. I didn't have to rub elbows with my man.
Oh, that's good.
But yeah, there's a lot going on, and so E wants to describe it for you and give me his take. And so yeah, I heard a lot about Lynn's sanity that night. Jeremy Lin was on the other
Yeah.
team.
Okay.
So
You're lucky, Ty. Out of all my friends, I will say you're lucky that Ty was there over anyone because Ty does talk a lot with me during games too and makes jokes and stuff. No, but I'm just saying, as opposed to if it had been a certain other of my friends, they might have you might have had to deal with more, to be honest
Oh,
with you.
boy.
If there had
So
been other.
Ty was taking some of your attention.
Yes, he was
Thank
taking
you, Ty.
a brunt of some of the.
Were you guys able to tie one on, have a good time, do dinner?
I think we got one drink. And that was a matter of contention, right?
Yes, I know we got these free seats and whatnot, but we were given a drink token where I was told to get a free beer and it did not work that way.
Wow.
And I was
Really?
I had to
Wow.
pay $9.50 for a
Oh,
beer.
poor E.
Actually, you paid $10.50, and
How do I know I was $10.50?
Well, because the bartender that you had recognized you two clowns.
What?
Yes.
What?
And
What do you
said,
mean?
and I believe her words were, Jay was nice. He tipped. Big E and his little Asian friend did not
I don't.
tip.
You know what, dude? You know what, dude? I don't give a fuck. I don't tip. I don't. No. Dude, I am
And-
generous.
I got a picture of you. A picture of your receipt was sent with your autograph
boy.
and name on it, leaving blank
Zero.
the tip area.
Yeah, that's a violation of my privacy. But
You should really draw a line. If you're not going to tip somebody, draw a line through it, man, and then put your total because she
Yeah,
can fill
normally-
that in.
normally I do.
She'd be like,
I-
"Yeah,
You're
$100
right.
bucks."
Actually, if she's listening, I hope she does fill that in.
Yeah,
We
Throw
can't-
$100 in there.
You
not
can't
too late.
now. You can't. Yeah, you can't. You can't now. But normally I do. But if I tip, I
you,
always put
you
the
normally
total.
draw the line right through.
No,
it.
I
No
don't.
tip.
No tip for you.
No, wait a minute now. Now you know what? I
I'm
don't
too
feel.
important.
I don't. No. I don't feel bad about that, dude. I am a generous tipper when I'm at
Why
the
didn't
bar.
you tip her?
Looks
dude?
like
I'll,
it.
I'll just tell, let me explain it. I'm a generous tipper when I go to the bar or when I go to a restaurant. That was the. I'm not tipping the person at the concession stand at a game.
Hold on.
No
This is
way.
a bar.
Oh,
This is not.
no,
what,
it's
no.
I got a goddamn beer.
I know.
Turn
That's
around
what you do
for
at a
beer.
bar. You
I'm
get a
not-
beer
it's
and then
not
you
a-
tip them.
No,
a
it's
buck.
not.
All right,
no,
it's
no,
one
no.
of these atriums I just described that
Fine.
Goris put in, where he bumps the palace out, and it's a new bar area.
not
Yeah,
tipping in that
I
bar,
agree. It's not like walking into a brick and mortar bar, but you're in a bar area. It's a bar.
No.
There's
Yeah,
a bar. You
there-
can sit on stools. I was sitting on a stool as I
Mm.
ordered my drink.
Mhm.
It's got taps in front of you. It's got liquor behind her. She's a bartender.
So
I'm
the
not
difference being,
Gab orders a vodka tonic.
That's
I
fine.
order a beer.
so
and,
you
and
think,
I give her the 2 tickets that Alex gave us. She's like, "Oh no, we can't take these. We stopped taking these in
Well,
February."
she recognized us. How come she didn't just take them?
Because
I don't know.
They're not good. So whatever. He had old tickets. Whatever. And I'm like, "Oh, okay. You sure you can't?" I gave her the I
Yeah,
gave her
yeah.
the come on.
Sure.
And she's like, "No, I can't." I'm like, "Okay." So
Yeah.
I paid for it and tipped her as you would in a normal bartending situation.
I'll stand by that, dude. I am a good tipper at a
Dude,
bar and at a
looks like
restaurant. I am not tipping at a sporting event bar.
I want this
No
to be
way.
clear. This is not like
I
beer
understand.
guy walking
Okay,
up.
dude, it is the
This
same.
is a
to me.
bar.
It's
I think-
exactly the same. To
no,
me.
no. Wait, E, hold on. I think it's different if you go in the pretzel line and you get a beer and
Right.
a pretzel. Like, I don't
I
think
don't.
you have to tip
No.
them. I don't think, as you mentioned, the guy walking around just going Budweiser and he's selling the cans for $5. I think you give him a 5 and you send him on his way. But if you go to those bar atriums where it's a bar setting, I think that's a no-brainer that you give
And-
him a
No,
buck or
I'll
two.
never
How
do
do you
it.
not when
Never.
you're giving back a credit card receipt? How
Fine.
do you not write in a tip right there?
I didn't, and I will. And I won't do it the
Dude.
next time. I never will. I will never tip when I'm at the Palace bar like that.
That
Never.
is so wrong.
That
That
is
is
wrong.
So
I
wrong.
don't care.
And,
I'm
and
somebody who tips, dude. I've tipped 50% on lunches. I'll tip honestly, but I'm not.
Why
sounds
are
like
you
it.
taking it out on
Because-
her?
Because I don't.
were you
believe
mad
she's
about the
getting-
drink
I don't-
ticket? Were you
I
mad
don't-
about the
I
drink
know
ticket?
because I don't believe that she's getting paid a bartender wage. I'm sure she's getting paid.
So
Oh,
that
right.
you've just decided that, and so
She's
you're
a
ru-
bartender standing at a
So is
bar.
the, but there was. Then
That
I
was a
then
bar.
then I will never go to those bars again, and I'll just go to the place where the hot dog is, and I'll get my same $8.50, $9.50 beer there.
I don't know. Can you bring those into those bar atriums?
Yes, you can.
What
It's
do you
not a
mean?
sight of a bar.
If you go buy a beer somewhere else, I thought
No,
maybe it's
it's
changed.
not-
I don't know.
it's
Can
not-
you walk in there with your
Yes.
drinks and
I
leave
have
with your
no
drinks?
Yes.
I'm not
Oh
sure.
yeah, we left with them. Sure,
You did. Okay.
dude. I'm
Um,
telling you though, anybody who can picture this Blue Moon bar, it's a bar.
Yeah.
Not a
With
bar.
A bar that it's a 3-sided bar. There's got bar stools. You've got a bartender.
And that's.
No,
I
Then
shouldn't
I'm-
have
then
to
I'm
explain this to you.
I get that-
You've done
Yeah.
service in those places,
I know.
and the fact is, you're
I disagree with the
You're-
premise that that's a bar, though.
as sad as it is, you're sort of becoming a public figure in a sense. You're going to be recognized at things. And so if you're cool with people over $1, with people going, that guy from the Detroit cast and his little Asian friend are fucking assholes. Her exact words were the retarded one and his Asian friend were assholes. They didn't leave a tip. And it was like, oh, are you kidding me?
Then I'm never going.
You
I will
kidding
never
me?
go to one of those.
Jay
bars
was
again.
really
I will
nice.
Never go to one.
Jay-
Fine, I don't care.
Jay didn't treat her any different than you did.
Okay.
Jay was really nice. He actually tipped.
Oh,
Okay.
oh.
Well,
Wow.
I will never go to one of those bars in a sporting event again. Then I will
That's the
always
stand to take.
I will always get my beer at the pretzel stand instead. Then
Well, maybe we can hear from people on email or how they feel. Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
who's
Sure
in,
there's a
who's
lot
in
of
the right?
people. Yeah.
Maybe
I don't
for all we know,
care.
you're really wrong and you're the dick, Jay, for tipping.
Maybe.
you're
Maybe-
never a dick for tipping. That's not true. You would never obviously be a dick for tipping. But I will never go to one of those bars again. Then I'll always get them from the hot dog line and not have to pay an extra $1.
You know what's a little bit scary to me about this whole situation? Not just that he's a dick and totally retarded, but the fact that she recognized us and didn't say anything.
Yeah,
like that's a little odd to me. Like, I think I don't want to open up a Pandora's box here, but I think in that circumstance, I'd rather have somebody say, "Hey, Jay, how you doing?" I would gladly say, "Hey, cool, you're a listener, great." Am I opening? Should I not say that?
No. That's fine to say because I think that's a rookie's interpretation of how that works. The fact is, you'll get emails like after a weekend. I remember doing stuff out, a party in a bar or something, and we'd get emails and it's like, I saw Walters at such and such bar in Royal Oak. Who was that hot chick he was dealing? Or and you're like, holy fuck.
Of course, that's the email he harkens back.
It doesn't mean I landed her, but the point being that people are paying attention to you where you don't even realize they are. Nobody came up and said anything.
Right.
Nobody did anything. I didn't recognize anybody. Why would I? And then
the hope is that it gets to be more like that, Jay. Right?
Well,
that's the hope, is that more people would recognize you than not.
And
I've gotten some emails like that, like, "Hey, I saw you, such and such." I'm like, "Oh shit, that's kind of weird to me."
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, part of me would rather have them come up and say hi than to just report back that they saw me somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Is that?
Well, we've had listeners before that couldn't even come up and say hi. They were just like, "Oh my God, I'm too shy. I'm too embarrassed." So that happens all the time. But a lot of people feel like, I don't want to bother him. He probably gets this a lot, which we don't, but enough. And E, especially when E's out in the wild, he gets spotted all the time.
Yeah.
People see him or hear him, recognize his voice.
At the gym
And
today.
I just don't think, even if you feel like it's bullshit, E, I think it's worth it for $1 to just go about your day and not come off looking like a dickhead. And I think the stance of, well, I'm never going to those bars again.
Well, I won't.
It's kind of silly.
Okay, well, I won't. But
Over $1.
I agree in that premise that I should have left something, only because you don't want to be the guy that the whatever that didn't tip the pizza guy. I agree with that.
So why didn't you?
Disagree because I would not tip at that bar, and I won't go to those bars again. Then, if that's the premise, then
What
I'll
if
go
you
to
had paid with cash? What if it was $10.50 and you gave her 11? Would you take your 50 cents?
I would have.
Yes, you
Probably would have.
Oh my God.
No, I probably
E.
would have. No, because then if 50 cents looks like more, I think 50 cents looks more like an asshole than not taking it. I think because coming from a server perspective, usually 50-cent tip is worse than no tip to me.
So I
used to would rather have got but if I was a server back in the day, like that was the whole joke. Like you'd rather get nothing than them to give you 50 cents and be like, I don't need your fucking 50 cents.
Yeah. This one seems like an easy one to me. Like I think it's tougher when I go. Like I'll go up to the local pizza restaurant down the street, not the delivery guy. Obviously, you tip them. Hold on, and I'll go in there, and it's just a straight carry out. I get in a salad and a pizza, and I always and they give me that receipt printout, and it's like, fuck, it's $28. Am I supposed to tip? Usually, I tip less than I would if it's someone waiting on me. So I've just come to the realization that what I do is, if it's a chick or a minority, I tip. Because I don't want to look like a dick to a cute girl or a minority. If it's a white guy, I'm just like, fuck him. And then I just kind of scratch it out.
If it's a place like that, they're not gonna. That person isn't getting it. They're spreading that around.
I know.
We learned that before. We talked about this before and what to do. And as we learned from you, that it's actually more work to do a carry out. And we heard other people report that too.
I think I want to look inclusive. I think that's what it comes down to. Like I want to look like I care about everybody equally, and so I don't want to give the illusion that. And white people, it's like no one's going to accuse me of being racist or mean to white people. So I was like, fuck him. Whitey gets
hypersensitive. All you see is race. All you see is race.
No, it's just a trend I've noticed the last couple times I've gone into this particular place. I'm like, I didn't tip that white guy last time. I think I did it subconsciously. I was like,
white guilt. Look at you.
I gave that girl a $3 tip. It's not just white guilt. It's like sexist guilt too.
Well, here's an example. Yesterday, when I had to go get some carry out from a restaurant for Easter, for our Easter meal or whatever, and I left $3 for a carry out order. Because carry out,
did you pay for it or was it someone else's money?
Well, no, I would leave it if it was my money or not.
Good point.
I would leave it if it was my money or not. I always tip because carry out people are working under the waiter pay, and they are getting taxed. A lot of people think that a carry-out waiter, all they did is walk up. If you put the order into the computer, the government lists you as putting an order. And a few years, I don't know when they started doing this, but a few years ago, they started automatically.
Yeah, but you haven't come
taxing
back and
you.
served me multiple times. You haven't filled up my water.
Well,
all that
I
shit.
wouldn't get. You're
Yeah.
right though. For that same meal, I probably would have given a $7 tip, maybe more. But in the restaurant, I'll give for a carry out. I'll usually give $2 or $3.
Yeah.
For a carry out.
Of your dad's money.
Even if I was my money, when I
No
lived in Holland
change today, Dad.
okay, when I lived in Holland and I was working my jobs and I was living on my own, if I got a carry out, I would tip. What about that?
I just think it's for $1. It's not worth the fight.
Oof.
Just personally, but whatever.
It won't matter.
You do it
I
however
will
you
never
want.
go to those bars again. I will always.
Good. This is great news.
He
for
was.
the Palace
I'll tell
bars.
you what it was. He was mad about the free
No,
drink not being a
that's
free
not
drink.
why.
Was she
It's
being
not
a
why.
bitch? I mean,
No,
can you
that's
lean on the
not
fact
why.
that she
No,
was a real cunt, and
It's
so I didn't want to
because
tip her?
that's not a bar. I'm sorry.
So a bar.
I agree. I've been
I
there
think
before.
we can probably find
kind of a nice
images of
bar.
this place. It's so a bar.
And
Oh, we're not gonna. I'm not gonna agree. I guess so.
yeah,
To disagree to agree.
I guess.
Hey, due to construction, Zotford and Holly has run out of room and needs to move some inventory off the lot. Therefore, they've lined up some incredible deals for TDC loyalists. Simply head to I-75 and exit 98. Mention Big E has chronic ball itch, and you'll be rewarded with a lease payment of $148 per month on a brand new 16 Ford Fusion SE. Also, if you bring in a bottle of Gold Bond for Big E's nuts, you will receive a free autographed TDC T-shirt.
how was the Easter for you guys? You did what? Ordered pizza?
No.
Is that what you got? What did you order?
I was picking up a big salad, and then there was ham and stuff. For whatever reason, we ordered a big salad from Highland House. Anyone in that area knows Highland House. Anyone in the Highland area, it's pretty popular amongst that area. The restaurant's been a while for a long time.
Yeah.
But
Did you
I
get
don't
an
know.
Easter basket?
no, I got
No.
a card.
You got an Easter
I
card?
got a card.
Anything in
That's
it?
nice.
A gift card to Starbucks.
How much?
$20. I don't know.
Not bad.
From your mom.
Sure, I don't
From the
know. What
bunny.
am I
It's from
supposed to
the bunny.
do?
Don't
Like, I'm
ruin
not. I
it.
don't.
Come on.
I didn't ask for it. I didn't sit there and say, "Mom, I need Starbucks."
I wish I would have gotten a card. Don't be upset. I
not
didn't get
upset
shit from
about
the bunny. Nothing. Not an egg. Not a chocolate bunny. Nothing.
You know what? You know what I wanted
Been
to say.
shut out 3 years in a row now from the Easter bunny.
This is not Easter, but I did want to say. I did want to reference to something that I did Saturday night. I went to watch this professional wrestling, quote unquote, with my friend Chubbs Saturday night. And
Wow. Friday with TCG,
I know.
Saturday with Chubbs.
It was quite a weekend. I gotta be honest. And then Sunday we had a nice family walk. Actually, it was a pretty good Easter weekend.
Kensington? Kensington?
A family
no,
walk.
No, it was over. It's
That's awesome.
there's a trail area around our house that I actually go running
Surround the
quite a
manor.
bit in the. Yeah,
Do
sure.
some fox hunting and things. through
Yeah,
there.
sure. We're
Yeah.
yeah. hunting.
They've got there's a house down the street on the corner. I don't know if you noticed, but they've got a track all the way around the house. So that's common
Same
around
kind
the
of
moat.
No, this was actually.
You can do that at the manor
This
too.
was actually a trail through the woods.
Ooh,
Hike through the woods.
Nice.
Almost verging on a hike, but I wouldn't call it a hike. But it would. Some people, you probably would consider it a hike. There was elevation.
Did Nana have her all-terrain walker?
It was not Nana. It was just it
Yeah.
was just the dad, my siblings, and Mongoloid Aaron Rodgers was there.
So what do? You just take Nana and turn her around into a corner and just say,
No.
"Don't move."
No, they stayed at home, and the women stayed at home and got the meal ready. You know, am I right?
Gotcha.
What did you guys did the Easter bunny hit the Detroit Cast
Easter
household?
Bunny hit hard. Had a little egg hunt in the morning. Yep.
Yeah.
Went to church. Went to brunch with Paul and Marge. Yeah, that was fun.
You're kidding.
No, wouldn't kid about that, Paul. That was great.
Did he
Paper. No, you know what? Let me back up. Friday they came over to do Easter eggs. They come over the Friday before Easter all the
I
time
don't
to
understand
do
that.
to color the eggs.
Yeah.
Sweet Pie loves it. And that's when they brought
Oh,
the paper
that
products.
is fun.
So got my paper products, saw Paul and Marge for brunch, really good brunch, loaded up, then went to my brother's, got some maple syrup,
Fresh maple
Yes,
syrup. Nice.
yes.
So
He
he's
tapped-
tapping the trees.
tapped the shit out of those trees, gave me some syrup. Actually, I'll bring it over. I didn't bring it today, but I'll bring it for you guys to taste.
Yeah, I want to try it.
Canton's best. Did that, man, it was a long day, dude. I mean, we were gone
Yeah.
from like early morning to late. So
Yeah.
it's fun though.
The weird thing with the Easter, it seems, and maybe this has been going on forever, but people doing these big, I know it's big, like at the White House, they'll do their Easter egg hunt. And it seems like the last couple of years, we always hear about these things getting out of control. Not obviously at the White House, but
Like Taylor or something, some park will set out a bunch of Easter eggs and people get in fights and shit over them.
Yeah, they end up, racing out. That the kids are all different ages and they're trampling the young ones. And of course, it happened again this year, which is foreign to me because I remember Easter morning was exciting when I was Sweet Pie's age, or even Russell's age. It was like the basket had changed, it had matured, and it was like there'd be a new sweatshirt or something, or a T-shirt in there and some candy. But
they got socks and underwear.
Yeah, but see, that's a good Easter gifts. I remember getting stuff like that. But
I don't know if I'd be
I
happy
don't
with underwear.
remember ever going to like a public thing, like ever. Is that something that a lot of people do? Like, I don't recall ever like, oh my God, this Saturday we're going to this park with a bunch of strangers and we're going to hunt for eggs.
Halloween and Easter have like jacked up in terms of importance and like people taking part in shit like that since we were kids. Yeah. A lot more of that community stuff going on.
I did it, I think, a few times, but Easter used to fall around, falls around when you get your spring break. And we used to drive down to Florida every Easter or whenever spring break was. Sometimes it wouldn't be on Easter, but usually it revolved around Easter.
Where are you going with this, E?
The point is that I did do a few egg hunts when I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah. It was at like my grandma's church. She would go to a church down there and they would do one. But I don't ever remember getting I don't know. It didn't get crazy, I guess. But being at a church doesn't make a difference anymore. Like, it doesn't matter where they are now. People, if there's prizes on the line or something.
Candy, man. Candy in those eggs.
I guess. Is it really like free candy? Like, I always break it down to the math of it. It's like, okay, if I collect 10 eggs out on my hunt
and they're not
with
gonna be
10
big
pieces
candy
of chocolate in them, what if I say, like, like, is it just about the fun for the kids that they're supposed to have? Because okay, that's like $1.
Right.
I've gone to all this trouble for like $1 in cheap chocolate. Like, what?
Yeah, you're not going there to try to like come out on top with the amount of candy that.
But that's what they're doing.
I know the older kids are just trying to do their Halloween thing, right? They're just trying to amass everything they can, which you understand like a 10 or 11-year-old would do.
Yeah.
While, as you mentioned, like there's a 4-year-old, 3-year-old toddling around trying to pick up 6 eggs.
Well, so
that's the problem. They're getting run over. The parents are getting pissed probably because the older kids are just running roughshod.
It sounds like it's even worse than that in Connecticut. It happened in Orange, Connecticut specifically. I guess Pez, the candy company Pez.
Oh, that's where they reside?
I guess they've got some headquarters. So they put on this big.
How do you feel
Easter
about Pez?
hunt.
I like them.
I'm a fan of Pez.
Really?
Yeah, I am. I'm not a fan of putting them in.
I don't care about
head.
that.
Oh, I love the dispenser. The dispenser is the only thing good about Pez.
Yeah,
Darth Vader, Yoda,
I just buy the
C-3PO.
Pez packs and just eat them.
Yeah, the Pez packs.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Oh,
it's okay though.
I haven't eaten one forever though. Honestly, I don't know when the last time
I got on a kick a few years ago where I had like
Pez, just popping Pez.
Yeah, and now granted, I would have my dispenser as well, and when I took the time to load them, they were a pain in the ass to load.
It's
I don't remember
a poor man's sweet tart or spree or something.
Yeah,
right?
but they've got a unique flavor to them that I rather enjoy.
Okay,
fair
enough.
Anyway, the children as young as 4 were trampled. Here's the problem: by adults.
Oh.
And I think what's going on, well, we can talk about, I'll give you the details first. These adults in a rampage to steal buckets and grab as many of the 9,000 hidden eggs as possible from the 3rd annual free event.
Are these things really hidden too? What I understand is like they're oftentimes in big fields.
Oh yeah, a lot of times
I think that's what it was.
Hidden? They're just out there.
One 4-year-old was left bloody on the field, and a 2-year-old girl was shoved into the mud. Into the mud with you. A parent described the scene as an angry mob of chaos with one toddler with not one toddler hunting for eggs. It was worse than being at Walmart on Black Friday. My toddler that was standing with her brothers was shoved into the field and then went with the flow. By that time, it didn't matter. I had to yell, "Go to my boys, just go!" And send them out there. She says it was just an angry mob of chaos. In the toddler field, it was more of a greedy parent field, not one toddler hunting for eggs. It was nuts. So what they did, we've seen this over the last few years where exactly what you described has taken place, where you've got 2-year-olds, 4-year-olds, and 12-year-olds, and it's like, the egg hunt. And if it works out well, you would expect the 12-year-olds to help the 2-year-olds. They don't.
Right. In a perfect world.
In a perfect world, that's how it goes. It never goes that way. They end up just hip checking a bunch of 2-year-olds.
Gotta get mine and shit.
Yes. So what they've decided to do at Pez World headquarters is like, okay, we're going to rope this shit off, and this will be for the 12-year-olds. This will be for the 10-year-olds, and then this will be for toddlers.
Good thinking.
And so they were going to send the kids off, and as soon as they released the rope on the first one, it was just like, charge! And all of them just went ape shit. And the disturbing part is, I don't know what this is. If this is some parent's need to feel like I'm looking out for my child by collecting the most eggs I can for my child.
Right. What is the end game? What is your purpose? What are you doing?
Yeah. Because when you hear like in the toddler zone, the little toddlers don't even have a chance to go look for eggs because the parents are all going to collect all their eggs for their little perfect angel.
This is exasperating just thinking about it.
Yeah. And I
You would think it'd just be a field full of ecstatic kids, but no.
Wow. how
excellent thought.
long
Thank
were
you.
sitting
Yeah.
on that?
Huh?
I don't know. That seems like kind of shoved in.
Which part? Mine or his?
Both.
A little shoehorned in there
Yeah.
a little bit.
Felt like.
We'll work on it for next year.
Okay. Yeah, we got a long way to go.
This old man says he took his grandson there. When my son left to get a broken basket, he was hysterically crying. He ended up bloody from an adult in the 9 to 12-year-old section, knocking into him. And to make matters worse, how about almost getting hit by a vehicle leaving your property? You got to hold Pez responsible for some asshole driver. Come on, Gramps.
Yeah, I know.
I think anytime you have a free event like this, unfortunately, you're just going to attract
Oh yeah.
everybody and anybody,
Yes.
and you can't have that high expectation of people to act with class, I guess.
I don't think that's such a high standard or expectation.
You know the public, Mike.
I know I do, but it just feels like
that is
should
a
be
big
one of those.
expectation.
Yeah, I would expect more out of the general public. I really would. That's all I'm saying. I don't mean to say that they should be on perfect or excellent behavior
That would
at
be
all times.
that would be exceptional.
Right, but you would think there'd just be some common courtesies out there.
Yeah.
You know
Are you serious?
what?
I get that you want that, but look around. That's not.
I'm gonna let it
like
go
it's gone
now.
more than
I'm gonna
ever.
let it go. But you know, I would expect more
You would
better
hope, but
behavior from these people.
not from what I see when I walk around the General Meijer or just anywhere you go, Walmart, Rite Aid, at the gas station. I don't really. I don't. And then you put on a thing like that.
I'm trying to think. I feel like there was something last year in these parts, and maybe it
There
was. Maybe
No,
it
we
was an
told
egg thing.
We
or
did a
maybe it
story
was
about one last
one
year.
of the eggs. Okay.
Yeah, we did a story
Same
last year
story,
about
huh?
parents whooping up on some kids or something, or you like no, it was like there was it was a story about how there was eggs and some eggs had like gift cards or some eggs had
Did
some
they
eggs had
drop
candy.
them? Wasn't there an egg drop
They
from a
do-
helicopter or
maybe.
something?
They do that
and
in Holly, I know. I
Hmm.
don't know. Apparently, they do that in Holly every year. Where if it's nice out, they'll drop eggs from like a plane or a helicopter or something. But the one we
It's an
talked
egg
about,
drop.
yeah,
Mm.
the one we talked about though, I don't know where
sounds
it was.
excellent on paper.
I don't know where it was, but that was absolutely the
Probably
case.
make a
like,
good soup.
Probably.
Anyway, a lot of people were pissed off at Pez for this. You know, people are like, I drove 2 hours. I'm
That's
thinking,
your fault.
2
dude,
hours.
you drove 2 hours. This
Why
lady.
wouldn't you just?
Thanks for the waste of time and the non-existent
You
organization.
did that
of
to
your egg
yourself.
hunt.
The waste of time was you driving.
That
Why-
if you are part of the coordination of that for Pez, that is infuriating. You know, you're just like, dude, what are we supposed
Yeah.
to do? You know,
Yeah.
we sat here for 2 weeks putting together these stupid little Pez
Probably
eggs,
longer
trying to
than
do
that.
this community service, get a little decent press out of it. Obviously, they're not doing
Yep.
it for free, but you know, you expect people to just act like human beings.
Yeah.
And then
Be
that
civil
goes,
to each
and then
other.
that goes Ari, and then you've got people making comments like that. I drove 2 hours, and this was ridiculous. You're like, no, it wasn't ridiculous. I put the eggs out as we said we would as Pez.
Liz says to specifically, and
2
they've got
hours.
a tag.
Oh my
They've
god.
got a tag Pez in it, so I make sure that people at Pez see what I felt. Specific direction: 9 to 12 egg hunt, 11 a.m. sharp. We drive 2.5 hours to show up 30 minutes early, only to receive a sorry, no one listened, and they started early. So she gets there, and it's just mayhem.
Well, for
She's
one,
all
by the way,
bummed
if
out.
you're gonna do one of these things, like I know it sucks that she had to drive so far. I'm sure she couldn't have just put eggs in her own backyard, but you can never expect they start right out. Don't you? You have to get something like this early, dude. You cannot show up to a free event
Yeah,
even a half hour. You just can't.
sounds
And
like things were really scrambled.
Yeah,
This whole story is hard boiled.
excellent point. I'm sorry your establishment was so poor with planning, and they apologize for children not listening instead of being unprepared for such an event. I'll wait in this line after my drive just to personally let management know my level of disappointment and poor excuse of an apology.
Oh boy, that must have been fun. And I'm sure she ended up just
Liz.
reeling off to some minimum wage worker in the end. I'm sure.
Guy like you just going, whatever, lady.
Yeah, just doing the parking, just like, okay.
Do you want
dude.
your Chewbacca Pez dispenser or not? Because I mean, I could give it to the next lady.
Yeah,
Dude, I'm missing.
there were a lot of
my
people,
family
though.
to stand here. Okay, so
there were, I guess, a lot of people that were taking Pez aside. Like, look, you cannot have adults acting like absolute maniacs out here and expect us to be at fault or responsible for it. We need to be done with these egg hunts.
no, you don't need to be done with any company trying to do any of this with the social networking that we're always talking about now, dude. All of these events, if you do free events, dude, you're going to have issues and people are going to take to social networking and it's going to be bigger than it ever was back in the day. What would be the benefit anymore? It seems like it's way more risk now than reward to do this stuff.
Yeah.
And for free anyway. If you want to do one where you charge like $30 to do that, knowing that by charging $30, you'll probably sift out some of that.
I don't know that the risk reward is worth it like it once was.
Exactly.
Like it used to be that happens. Say that goes down like that. And if it goes off without a hitch, it's not newsworthy. If it turns into a mess, it's in your local, Livonia Observer newspaper in a small blurb.
Now it's all over the world.
But now it's international news. And if it goes off without a hitch, it's again not newsworthy. So what is in it for Pez?
Yeah. Pez either ruins Easter, as apparently it has done,
Right.
or it just goes off without a hitch and you never hear about it.
Excellent point.
I'd love to be
Well said.
I'd love to be a fly in the car that's driving 2.5 hours for a free Easter egg hunt.
Speaking of the fly, I saw that Pants got the fly.
Oh,
The fly
Pants
that was
did.
flummoxing E all day on Thursday.
Yeah, well, Cat's
I
job
noticed
is to get a fly.
He
That's
was
his-
remarkably quiet on that post. He was called out on that post.
Is that right?
Yes, I mean, I specifically tagged you and Big E.
Yes, I did see it.
And I noticed you didn't like it or comment back to it.
I should have. And what I would have said is, that's a cat's job. Like his whole life is catching flies.
It looks like Pants took that fly down to Chinatown. I
Well,
mean,
of
that
course
thing
he
was
did.
Back when it's-
mangled.
If I were
yeah.
to post images of all of the animals that my cats have killed over the years, then yeah,
You were given a specific task last Thursday to take down one.
I would have liked to seen anybody else
One
in here
fly.
catch
One
that fly.
woozy fly. This fly had just
was
woken up from
fat.
hibernation.
Yeah.
He was
he
hibernating all year. He just woke up. He's like,
Yeah,
wait,
flies are hard
what?
to
What's
catch. I
up?
didn't have
What's
enough-
going on?
Official swatter or anything.
There's like 8 million pieces of paper around
I
here. You
know.
could have fashioned a swatter in no time.
Well,
Yeah. This
The
is
one
what
time
this
he's
was
up
his
by the
idea
light
of a
bulb.
swatter.
Yeah.
Well, the one time two times I saw him, he's up by the light bulb. Imagine if I'd hit the light bulb, heaven forbid, and that had been knocked out.
Is
or
it too much to
something.
ask for a little bit of dexterity? Too much?
I don't know what that word
Apparently
means.
it is.
So
It was too
yes
much.
or no? Sure, it was too much
Great success from Pants. I don't know how he did it, but he did.
because he's a cat and that's what they do
Yeah.
all day.
I didn't even have to tell him. He just went, I see retard's not going to handle this, so I got it, Dad. Don't worry about
Good
it.
man, Pants. Good
Um,
man.
Did you see Ivanka finally spit out that brat?
I did, man. She seemed like overbaked forever, didn't she?
Well,
I was like,
yeah.
When is this going to happen?
It seemed like for weeks. Donald's
Yeah.
been like, any minute now, she's going to blow.
Yeah, I thought like she was going to give birth in Iowa was the big deal
Yeah.
back then. No?
No, that was definitely what he was saying.
Where'd
but,
she give birth?
in New York, I'm sure. Easter
kid.
Sunday. Third kid. Yeah, they named it kind of a presidential name. Named it Theodore.
Nice.
Theodore James Kushner. Is that Kushner's the guy she's married to? Douche looking dude, honestly. For Ivanka Trump, I mean, I think she's pretty hot, but yeah, Theodore and James are names held by former presidents. Theodore Roosevelt, obviously, James Madison. No one's asked them yet if they purposefully did that. I think they had pictures of them earlier in the day, like going to Easter brunch too. And then the next image that pops up is her like laying in the hospital bed holding this little
Yeah, I think
baby.
it's when you're third one, you get a little cocky. You're like, oh, I got this. No
Yeah.
problem. Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit of contractions. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
Go about my day.
Yeah. So anyway, congratulations to the Trump household.
Yes.
And then when we were here last on Thursday, shit was really heating up between the vampire and Trump,
Yes.
going back and forth.
About their ladies.
Yeah, about their wives, right? That was the Melania thing had aired.
Yep.
The GQ photo shoot that the Super PAC had put out.
And then Trump had struck back by saying, "Yeah, you better watch it, or I'm going to spill the beans on your wife."
That's right. Well, he and then I think you tweeted about this. I think I tweeted about it as well. The National Enquirer article came out.
Yeah,
saying that
Ted,
the vampire's been banging chicks.
How is that possible?
It probably isn't. Although I'll tell you
don't
this,
believe it, dude. I do not poo-poo things the National Enquirer does.
No,
except for the monkey boy and the bat boy. Although
yes.
Bat Boy might be an offspring of this situation.
Maybe. And I think there are more people that have come around to that reality. And the fact is, it's a reality that the National Enquirer vets way more research. Now, you can go, people always love to point, oh, yeah, well, they're alien stories.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you can go back to the early 80s and, late 80s, and there was tons of that bullshit. But for the most part, since then, I'm not saying everything's
Lewinsky,
true, but
OJ, all that period of time, they were starting to really hit some things early. And it may not have been 100%, but they were on to something.
They were much closer than people want to give them credit for.
John Edwards, they were all over.
Yes. The OJ one was the one that really started. Like, you could get more credible updates about what was going on and coming up with that trial or before the trial, just when the murder investigation was going on, out of the National Enquirer than you could any of the regular papers. Like, it's just a fact. And they were right on 99% of that stuff. Maybe that's a stretch, but they were right on a lot of it. So they're claiming that Cruz had 5 affairs. Cruz's people are saying this is Donald at his finest. His henchman.
Yeah, that was the word.
Nerd. Trump is saying that they had nothing to do with. I had nothing to do with it. I don't care. The National Enquirer did a story. It was their story. It wasn't my story. It was about Ted Cruz. I have no idea if it was right or not. Donald loves to throw that out there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it was right. Maybe it wasn't. It's not for me to say. Who could possibly say? They have actually have a very good record of being right, but I have absolutely no idea.
I know. I love it.
Oh, Donald, his tactics
passive aggressive.
So passive aggressive. I love it though. It's such a shitty dig.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of doing what a normal politician is trained to do. Well, I'm not going to go down in the gutter for these types of politics. We've got bigger issues to worry about in this great nation of ours. God bless you and God bless the United States of America. Like, that's what they're trained to do. And instead, it's like, well, I can't say I didn't have anything to do with it. They're usually right, but I don't know. Like, that's not a politician's answer. There are things about Heidi that I don't want to talk about, but I'm not going to talk about them. You can look, but I wouldn't talk about them. More passive aggressive. Frankly, I hope it's not right.
Oh,
that's what Trump hopes that. Friday's story was the cherry on top, they say, to the nasty week between the two of them. And what do you think about the Super PAC? Do you kind of think like I do that those Super PACs,
they do their bidding?
Yeah, they kind of do the underhanded shit for these people.
Yeah, I think for the most part, the campaign knows what's going on.
Yeah. Like a Super
you're talking
PAC,
about the Super PAC that funded the Melania GQ picture.
Yeah.
Where was that? Utah. Yeah. To affect the Mormon vote. Say,
right.
Is this really the first lady you want? And she's splayed out naked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think if Cruz didn't want it to happen, he could make it not happen. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. I seem to, I choose to believe personally that you use them as your, like, when you want to get in the dirt and having an attack lined up on someone specifically in Utah, which he didn't need to do anyways. He was crushing in Utah. There was very little doubt that he was going to win Utah. But why? I don't think, obviously Cruz can't do that and hold up a picture of Melania and go, is this the first lady material? He can't, but if the Super PAC wants to do that, I think he would A, know about it, and B, I didn't see it. If you want to launch it, then be my guy. Like,
yeah, you can have this arm's length sort of thing.
Totally.
Like, it wasn't me.
Plausible deniability.
Mm-hmm. It's the same thing with the Swift boats against Kerry. Remember that? John Kerry, when he was running. Who was that against? Was that against G-Dub the second time? When the Swift boat thing came out and it was like, oh, hold up, everybody. John Kerry is not such a war hero. Here's a bunch of these Swift boat veterans who served alongside him who said he sucked.
Yeah.
And that was a Super PAC deal.
Yeah.
And so GW could just sit off to the side and let that happen.
Yeah. I'm not affiliated in any way with that Super PAC. Well, yeah, you are.
If you wanted to
tens of millions of dollars for you. Trump alleged that it was the Cruz campaign who bought the rights to the nude photo. He's very close to the super PAC, just so you understand that. There's no way in a million years that super PAC did that without his knowledge. Don't forget, I call him Lion Ted.
Yeah, we don't forget that.
Makes it sound like he's a lion, though.
Right.
Lion.
Right.
Cruz again denied the campaign had anything to do with the initial attack on Melania. That ad they put out was deplorable. And as soon as I saw it, I denounced it and I said it was wrong, but it wasn't us. Cruz put out on Twitter then afterwards, after the damage is already done. The shot's been fired. The picture's out there. Donald, the real men don't attack women. Your wife is lovely, and Heidi is the love of my life. We get it. She's your wife.
Yeah.
Heidi is the love of my life. I want to make that very crystal clear.
Oh, my darling. Oh,
my darling. So anyway, do you do kind of believe this? I can't imagine some of the girls names that have popped up. There's only been a couple of them. The other ones are kind of,
It's hard for me to believe that, God, any woman would allow him to enter them. But
yeah,
stranger shit has happened, and God, some of those politicians are just creepy sexually a lot of times.
Is it as bad when it's through the neck, or I mean, it's not talking traditional, right?
Right. No, he could have used this hypnotic vampiric powers.
Yeah. The weird thing is, if you were to line up their cycles, he really only goes after them when they're on their periods for some reason. I don't know why.
Gross.
That's just his thing, though, I guess.
Isn't it hard to believe a chick could look at him and be like, yeah,
it must be a power thing, right? It's got to be power. So according to the Inquirer, the five were a foxy political consultant, once worked for Cruz, now associated with another campaign. That's Katrina Pearson, who's hot herself, and she's the one that you'll see all over the TV talking up Trump. That's who that is. I cannot wrap my head around Katrina Pearson and Ted Cruz in a closet. So I just can't.
In a closet.
But that doesn't mean it didn't happen. Ted, yeah, he's supposed to.
Oh, yeah, I've seen her for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. The pretty lawyer, I'm assuming, is that Amanda Carpenter from CNN? There, two names have come out, Amanda Carpenter and Katrina Pearson. Both have denied it. She worked for his Senate campaign when they had an affair. It continued as she worked elsewhere.
So I want to know more about Heidi, though. What is this that Donald's alluding to?
Yeah.
That here we're hearing about Ted, but what's Heidi got going on?
Yeah.
Heidi Tyne.
I love Ted coming out and trying to be tough talking Ted.
Yeah.
Did you see that video?
Yeah. Frankly, it's disgusting.
And you'll leave Heidi the hell alone. Like this whole like tough guy macho thing that these people try to do. I just don't buy it.
No.
I don't buy it. Whether he's in love with his wife, who knows? Who knows what kind of backdoor deals have gone on in this marriage? The kids look like they want nothing to do with him.
Right.
He can't even get a hug and a kid. I look at friends who have families that are stable and the kid can't wait to run up in dad's arms to give him a hug. That family looks like they can't wait to get the hell away from him.
It all looks a little posed, doesn't it?
It sure does. So here was my favorite quote from Ted Cruz over the weekend.
Tough talking Ted.
Tough talker. Come on, get him, Ted.
You know, I have to say, seeing him go deeper and deeper to the gutter, it's not easy to tick me off.
Uh-oh.
I don't get angry often.
Uh-oh.
But you mess with my wife, you mess with my kids, that'll do it every time. Donald, you're a sniveling coward, and leave Heidi the hell alone.
Ooh. Whoa. Well.
That was so staged and rehearsed.
Here's what you're going to do. Make sure, Ted, now when you do this, you want to point your finger. Get that gunshot out there.
You messed with my kids.
Play that one more time.
It's awesome.
You're a sniveling coward, Donald. Leave Heidi the hell alone. She is the love of my life. God, I hate these people.
You know, I have to say, seeing him go deeper and deeper to the gutter.
Kind of like his jacket, though.
It's kind of sweet, isn't it?
It's not easy to tick me off.
Not easy.
I don't get angry often.
Yeah, right.
But you mess with my wife, you mess with my kids, that'll do it every time. Donald, you're a sniveling coward, and leave Heidi the hell alone.
Ooh.
How he looks to the side then, like, huh.
I got him, didn't I? I sent a warning shot. There's more where that came from.
Very Clint Eastwood-esque. It's tough.
I haven't read this article yet. Apparently, Donald gave some interview to the New York Times, or the transcript is out there now where he's shaking things up. Apparently he's talking about how he wants to focus on America. And so people are taking that like, what do you say? Our partners are in the world. What's going to happen to our partners around the world?
Oh yeah.
He's like, it's time to look after America.
Yeah.
I thought it was
At
interesting
this
though.
time, Mike, with all everything that's going on in Belgium, is it time to withdraw?
Yeah. They asked him, by the way, if in this article, which again, I haven't read yet, but apparently one of the excerpts from it that has people rattled is asking him if it was safe to go to Europe. Like, is it safe to travel to Europe? And he went, honestly, no. Like, no. Which, and people are like, oh, how could you say that? You can't travel to Europe. And he was like, honestly, I don't even think it's that safe in America right now. I think we've got more problems than people want to face up to and own up to. Now, what's interesting about that is a week ago, I heard one of the guys that is on the field, and I think I talked about this with you guys, who was talking about that and this stuff. It's kind of like the guy that we interviewed, right? The ISIS guy that's on the ground. He's got Benjamin Hall. Fox News's version of Benjamin Hall, or CNN's version of Benjamin Hall. So someone that's really dialed into that shit, has people on the inside of ISIS, people have defected from ISIS, and they asked him about that, and he was like, I can't believe I'm making this statement, but I would not travel to Europe right now, personally.
Mm-hmm.
So that's him. So like, I don't think it's out of control for Donald Trump to say that when someone like that's as dialed in on this stuff is about anybody goes, no.
Everybody wants to send the message, and Obama, I think, tried to do that as he was taking in his baseball game in Cuba when this happened. That,
of course.
Oh, you know what? These terrorists can't win. We just need to go about our business and not worry about that. We got this shit behind the scenes. It's not as dangerous as these fear mongers want you to think it is. But I don't know what's safe, right? It's a sliding scale. What does safe mean?
Yeah.
Is there a risk? Yeah, there's a risk. There's a higher terror level, right? They use that stupid red.
Yeah.
Orange,
We're at orange
blah, blah,
now.
blah, whatever.
Wow.
Like, doesn't your gut just tell you, like, maybe with the Paris and the Belgium, maybe it's not as safe?
Yeah.
Maybe it's not the ideal
say.
time to travel to London.
I kind of hate when people do this, and maybe it's probably fair, but experts who talk about this stuff say, wow, there's a big difference between Europe and America because they're much closer to Syria and that whole region. You can get there by car to Europe. You don't have to, take a plane, which makes it much more difficult. But the fact is they're trying. Like that's the disconnect I have a problem with. It's like, well, it's harder, but the lack of effort isn't there.
Right.
At what point does the breakthrough happen? And then you have a real problem. I'd rather stomp out why let the cancer get to the point where you're incapacitated? Wouldn't you want to find it at stage 1 instead of try to fight it back at stage 4?
Oh, the notion that our oceans protect us is ridiculous. We learned that many years ago. We learned that at Pearl Harbor, righty?
Of course.
Yes, 1941 was it? December 7th, day in infamy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just see. And by the way, you mentioned Obama. He's been quite the meme going around Twitter and other social media. People are like showing pictures of the bombings, like the carnage.
Bitch, nigga. Buy your own damn fries.
The carnage, and then they've superimposed him like doing the tango dance with that chick in Venezuela.
Oh God!
Yes. So they've got him in all these poses all over
the party goes
world.
On.
Yeah, as the party's rocking on, and he's able to lean on that thing. The terrorists win if we show them. The terrorists win. Well,
sorry ass motherfucker got nothing on me, right?
Agreed.
Nothing.
It's true, sir. Such a total pussy. It's stunning.
Stunning.
Bernie Sanders, by the way, did you see that everyone talking about Bernie Sanders? He kicked Hillary's ass.
He
over
did.
the
What, three states?
Yeah, but 3 kind of,
Yeah.
I mean, 3 states, but
were they all caucus states or were they?
Yes, Alaska.
Well, home of the Palins and the snow machines.
Mm-hmm. Hawaii. Cute. And then Washington State.
Okay.
That's not bad. The upcoming primaries will take place in what Sanders has called the most progressive part of America. We're finally getting out of the shitholes of America where I can start getting some votes. I can get some votes out of these people. The blacks wouldn't vote for me down south, but the progressives will on the West Coast. He's gearing up for that big time. You see, he handily whooped her ass.
Hmm.
Like 81% to 18% in Alaska.
Wow, man.
In Washington, 72% to 27%, and in Hawaii, 70% to 29%.
Damn.
So not a bad showing. And then this was going around everywhere. I'm sure you saw the bird.
I've not seen the bird.
You haven't seen
Bernie Sanders?
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. As soon as this happened, I went, Bernie Sanders. It was
Really?
the first thought in my mind. Yeah. So there's a bird off to the right of his podium. It's a bird. Someone shoot it.
Sitting on his podium. Everybody clapping.
So simple. So easy.
Standing O.
Yay, bird. Oops. That bird's got to be so confused by humans. Look at him just chilling there.
Yeah. Bernie's trying to come up with something witty.
Yeah. He's like, thank God he took off. I didn't know if I was supposed to shoo him. What am I supposed to do with this? What's the symbolism?
Yeah,
Totally.
Yeah,
we all
symbolism.
see it. We all see the symbolism. Does anyone know what the symbolism is?
That's all you can come up with? I don't know.
Wow.
Mm.
That bird represents me shitting all over Hillary Clinton. You should have gone with bird shit
Yes.
angle.
Yeah.
Other than that, well, pretend this bird, which is a standard canary, pretend it's a dove and it's begging for world peace. What?
A standard canary.
I don't know what it was. What was it?
Chickadee.
Chickadee. Just it was your
Very
standard,
standard.
shit bird
Yes.
you see on every tree in America.
Dime a dozen.
Nobody, and I mean nobody, is putting binoculars on that bird.
No.
Not happening.
No. Nothing
Not even
remarkable
Pat?
about it.
No, my mom is not putting her binoculars. She's not wasting.
Waking up in the morning, bring
No.
your shirt over those dime-sized nipples, and then what?
Good point
You're
about the
watching.
dime sizers. E. Good point.
Just had to throw it.
I'm gonna backhand him in the face. It's one thing when Jay does it. You shut up, or I'll go after your family so hard you won't even know what hit you. We'll get in. We'll do an hour-long special on the Fadies. Son of a bitch! Don't think I won't. I have their phone number now.
You know, now.
Hi, Mrs. Fady, by the way.
Hi,
You haven't had
Mrs.
it before?
No, you wouldn't even let us look at your
How do you
phone
have it now?
before.
Why do you have
When
it?
you were splayed out on the ground, I stole it from your phone.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I have your mom's and dad's.
like a
number.
month ago.
I've been respectable, but you start tagging after my mom, and
And
we're
her
gonna have
dime
real problems.
sizers. Don't mention his mom's dime-sized nipples again, E.
I won't. I've heeded the warning.
Hey, this segment's brought to you by Mayer and Company Accountants. Paying taxes sucks. The whole process is confusing and time-consuming. Let Kyle Mayer and his firm handle your personal or business taxes. We know that Big E has no clue where the bean even is, but Kyle Mayer counts beans for a living. Call Kyle at 248-521-0016. Tell him the Detroit Cast sent you, and you'll get 10% off your year-end tax prep fee.
Don't forget our friends, David Helm Law. Full-service law firm built on the model of providing the best legal service to its clients throughout Michigan. It represents clients in a wide range of cases, including family law and divorce, civil litigation, estate planning, and criminal defense. So whether you're leaving your children in the car or your spouse is refusing to put out, call Helm Law, 248-679-8804, or go online to helmlawpc.com. They offer free consultations. If you tell them you support the Detroit Cast, you get an additional 15% off. Can't beat that if you're in some legal shit. Like this guy is in.
What do we got?
Tough story, man. 5-star recruit out of Mississippi, Mississippi State football recruit, caught beating a woman on tape.
Oof.
On video. Yeah. 5-star defensive lineman. Those don't just walk by your campus every day.
No, they don't.
Jeffrey Simmons was seen hitting her several times in a cell phone video. The footage starts with a couple. We have video of it here.
Portraits. God damn it.
I know. I don't hear anyone yelling "World Star" either. At least in the video I saw.
This guy's just beating up a chick right here.
Well, it looks like some fat family member of hers is in a fight with this chick, and then he for some reason gets involved.
Oh,
Look at that fat.
yeah.
boy.
Look at Grimace, man. Don't kick her. Don't kick her. Is he going to kick her?
No, he's done.
Okay, he's done. Wow, look at Grimace go.
Look at this. Look at this move. She pulls off her
Is
shoe.
that a figure four? Is she going to put her in a figure four?
She bashes her with her own shoe.
Wow,
that's insulting.
disrespect. The ultimate in disrespect. Oh no!
Giant pink panties.
Oh boy!
So there he
Dude,
is.
he's wailing on her.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Full bottom pink panty.
A lot that's unfortunate about that video.
Yeah.
Not the least of which is the full bottom pink panty at the end.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
so what's the relationship here? Is this his old girlfriend?
Well, I
Do
think
we know?
No, I think this is a family member that he's helping to defend for some reason. Why you would need to do that over a chick on the ground? He has come out with an apology. He's committed to Mississippi State on National Signing Day. The coach hasn't said shit yet,
It's 5-star.
dude. That was going to be my question.
5-star.
If this was a Michigan State kid,
Well,
if
you
this
saw
was-
the kid last year, right? Who was the quarterback at Cass Tech who body slammed the security guard?
Was he a 5-star recruit though?
He was a 4, I think.
Was he?
Yeah, he was.
But he had other troubles
He had
Didn't
some
he-
troubles leading up to that.
in
Yep.
school. Didn't he body slam a security guard? And then he
well, that was it. He got in a fight with a guy after the last game of the season. He was, I think, suspended for several games of the upcoming season, and then
Mhm.
he body slammed the security guard on tape after being told to like take his hoodie down or something.
yeah.
And
I
then
think
if you remember when he
he's
got
had
out of
trouble too in the
that's what I was gonna say. When he got out of jail from that,
Didn't he beat up his?
he beat up his girlfriend like
Yeah.
that day. It was
They
like within
stole her
hours.
cell phone or
Yeah.
something. And I think he's had trouble in the home he's in. I think he's
Ugh,
been in fights there. So there's like a
He was a mess.
whole history of trouble. My question is, since we tend to root for logos on helmets
Yeah.
in sports, you know what I mean? Like you're a huge fan of a guy as long as he's on your team. Would you know, willing to look the other way on this one?
Well, who was
or-
the Michigan guy who beat up the girlfriend? Was it Clark? I think he bolted for
Yeah.
the NFL right after it happened, but he was alleged to have beat her up at a hotel or something.
Yeah,
Donovan Clark, or I don't.
It's
I hate
Clark
to-
for sure.
All right, that's. I don't want to
57?
speculate on that. I
Let's
think
say
number
40.
57 Donovan.
I don't think it's Donovan. Maybe
Okay.
you're right, but
Whatever. The bottom line
in a
is this
hotel room.
happens across the country, and the question is how much do you care about your team versus
Yeah.
humanity?
Okay, here's the question: if this guy's going to be a critical piece in getting you to national state
Prominence.
prominent, like getting you respected as a school, are you willing to overlook like the couple of tags he got in out of chick's face?
See, here's my thought when it comes to this: is like not the fight doesn't bother me as much as the worry of what's he gonna be like. Like I don't
That
even care
doesn't
about.
bother you. He's
Yeah.
a chick who's.
I'm
laying
not
on the
okay with
ground.
that. I'm not
terrible.
okay
We all
with
agree
that.
it's terrible.
I'm not okay with that. But if I knew, like, you're talking about a national championship, I mean,
National title. How often do those
but
come
my-
around? I'm
but
just
my-
saying.
but my worry is more just towards like it's more of the sign of what he'll be like on campus and
No,
what.
this is a bright line. You pull the scholarship. Done.
You pull the scholarship.
I pull the
not me. I
scholarship.
care about
I
this
didn't say a bright
program.
line program.
I care about this program and bringing us to national prominence, Jay.
Bright line, dude. He's wailing on a chick who's laying on the ground.
Well, some could say. Does his apology matter?
Well, let's hear it.
Okay, I think it's actually not that bad. So he posted on Facebook, Jeffrey Simmons, where do I start? Where do I begin?
I don't know. When you're pummeling the chick on the ground, that's a good spot.
So where do I begin? Wow! Exclamation point. Decisions, choices, and actions should always be carefully thought through when incidents occur.
And not videotape.
I take
That's
it.
yeah, that's what it should say.
I take full responsibility for my actions that occurred on Thursday evening. My apology goes out to the Taylor family and shit, especially this Sophia Taylor. What was I thinking? Honestly, I wasn't thinking. All I could think was, this is my family, and am I supposed to defend my family? Many know my deceased nephews were my pride and joy. I do everything I do in honor of the life they never got the chance to live, and to listen to someone speak so terrible about them really caused me to make choices and decisions and act in a manner that was out of character for me. Is that an excuse? No! Exclamation point.
Then why'd you go into it? It's a total excuse.
I truly hope you will find it in your hearts to forgive me and shit for my actions. I want to apologize to those that have supported me, those who look up to me, and those who I consider family. I hope that each of you will accept my apology. I was raised in church, by the way. I've asked for
Did he say
forgiveness.
that?
Yes, I was raised in church. I've asked for forgiveness. I pray for God's continued guidance as I move forward in shit, becoming a better person. Oh, and I'm going to try to stop beating on chicks.
Hey, this might be a great time for him to learn a lesson and become a better person, but his scholarship is yanked.
Okay, so he's gone from Mississippi State. I think that's a good call. Now, after,
He learns his lesson and
Some
shows
careful,
himself.
careful reflection and shit.
Some prayer.
After I
Meeting
meet with
with the
some
locals.
community leaders and shit, I have a few chicks sign off on that I'm a good dude and shit. I'm thinking about transferring to Michigan State University. Go ahead north. I want to play in the snow and shit.
No interest in that guy.
Oh, national champion. Jay, you don't care about the Spartans. E.
I'm thinking about after careful reflection and shit, and meeting with community leaders.
I don't know if this guy. I don't know.
I'm thinking about transferring to Southeast Michigan and maybe playing for Jim Harbaugh and the Michigan Wolverines. Go blue and shit.
I don't know sports or recruits enough
Remember,
to know how
I'm a 5-star recruit and shit.
you have to just go. If you put me under the premise that it would put us in the national not us, but put them in the national championship game, I might be okay with it. I didn't go to school there. What do I care? It doesn't hurt my
So
degree.
Jay doesn't want girlfriend or girl
and to be clear,
beaters
it
on
does-
any level.
It does
He's cool with it. And I'm not saying you're wrong.
right.
He's cool with it if it can guarantee him a national title.
It doesn't have to be a
That's-
title.
that's
Let's just
where
go
we're
into
at.
the game. If we could get to the game.
Guarantee that you get to the game.
And I think if people were absolutely 100% honest with themselves, they would all agree this is terrible and shit. You shouldn't have done that.
Forgiveness. I mean,
But we are second chances kind of people, and I think if he wasn't going to your team, you want him banned. You want him done. But if he's coming to your team,
horrible.
I don't find it credible that he can make this quick turnaround. If you're coming back 3 years later and you've done some stuff that you can show me, all right, different person, maybe.
what exactly
I don't know.
do you do?
I don't
What
know.
kind of workshop do you do?
I don't know.
I haven't hit a bitch in
That's
years.
like a serious character flaw, man. And by the way, it
Yeah,
was Frank
agreed.
Clark.
Frank Clark,
I was
yeah.
gonna-
Number 57?
He admitted hitting his girlfriend to a hotel manager.
Yeah. Why would you admit that, Frank?
Frank,
you don't need to
just
you don't need to
deny.
call David Helm to know.
She
Don't.
fell. She
admit
tripped.
that. Yeah, easy.
There's a lot of staples out there. You're right. Trip, fell, whatever.
Anyway, I think if we're being totally honest with ourselves, there are probably a lot of people out there that be like, "Yeah, put him on the roster."
Right.
Sign him up.
Let's hope for the best. We're gonna roll the dice on.
Like I
he-
said, I would
he
say-
is 5-star and all.
Right. I would say like my biggest, like mentioned earlier, my biggest thing with it is more the worry that a person like this stuff would happen along the way. And I don't want to get in some situation where now you're in a probation or something. That would be more.
No,
my
exactly. It
concern.
speaks to his character. The fact that he'd walk over there and hit a chick on the ground like that. Yes, I
Uh,
agree.
the-
that probably speaks to who you are.
Yeah. The fact that you would feel so comfortable doing that in a crowded park while a brawl is going down, oblivious to all that lies ahead for you.
You are at the
I mean,
very
you
least
are-
an idiot.
You're a moron.
Moron.
To think that there's not going to be cameras there, even if there wasn't,
well, dude,
just in general, but to
Look at
not
that
be
neighborhood. You think
self-aware enough to think that someone's not going to have a cell phone out, and the troubling there's a lot of troubling parts, but for your own personal needs, you would think like, dude, seriously, you can't see the bigger picture of where you're going?
Nope.
And like 5-star recruit, you're NFL talent.
hmm
They're talking NFL, not 1.5-year player at a D1 college who goes on to never play again. 5-star recruits are guys that could talk about drafting. So, yeah, with a little luck,
He'll land at Ohio State.
there
Don't
you
worry.
go.
Urban Meyer, get him. Hey, remember, if you're a young, attractive female teacher who's eager to brighten her students' future, or if you've been injured at the Fady Manor and are looking to cash in, call Helm Law at 248-679-8804 or go online at helmlawpc.com to set up your free consultation. Tell them you support the show. You'll get 15% off.
Hey, let's take a quick timeout, and we'll come back and we'll tell you what's going on. There's some fighting going on down in North Carolina way.
Well,
Trannies and North Carolinians getting into it over this new law they're trying to get passed. So give you the details on that next.
The Detroit Cast continues after this short break.
Hey, it's Steve Gabarra from Zod Ford and Holly, the only dealership offering 2 for $252. Right now at Zod Ford, you get 2 brand new 16 Ford F-150 4x4 Super Cabs for just $252 with $1,000 due. That's 2 trucks for just 1 payment of $252. I'll say it again, lease 2 F-150s for just 1 payment of $252 per month. Hurry to Zod Ford and Holly, home of the 2 for $252, because leasing 2 trucks for the price of 1 can't last long.
The Detroit Cast continues now, bitches. Here's Mike and Jay.
All right, welcome back to the Detroit Cast.
I guess I'm attracted to a dude.
Happens. It's all right.
What's that have to do with anything?
I thought you were
Weird
describing.
statement to
I
come
thought,
out
that, I thought that was describing Mike when he thought that dude out of the 4 chicks was hot.
Good one.
I guess I'm
good.
attracted to a
There's
dude.
one person in this room that looked at an image of 4 individuals.
I don't think that's fair to say, but whatever. It was
Yeah,
a blurred
well,
out image. It was
I could
basically
tell-
a
I could
headless
tell
image
right away.
and a girl's body.
I could tell right away it was a guy.
He did have a slender midriff in Mike's defense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tan,
but it
too.
didn't look like a chick to me. Oh, whatever.
Accidents happen.
These
What are you
things
gonna
happen.
do?
They do. They happen.
Should we announce who did the best of?
Yeah. Joel Kajowski.
Kajowski?
Kajowski.
Whatever. Joel.
Joel.
He's one of the monsters you see out there posting on our show.
Joel.
He's the guy that did the E mixes with Kid Rock, wasn't that? That
Yes.
was Joel, right?
That was Joel.
A lot of those videos that are posted.
He did the Bobby Gallagher.
Oh yeah, the
Right?
sneezing girl,
He did the sneezing girl.
the girl that couldn't stop sneezing.
You
Put
look
that
at
to a
our
beat.
He's still
website.
sneezing? I
Our
wonder.
website,
No.
DetroitCast.com, under listener creations. I believe he has a few other things there. But yeah, thanks to Joel, he obviously put a lot of time into that.
Yeah.
And we're getting overall good response.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, very good response. We've got Derek who says, "Bravo, gentlemen. I listened to Monday's best of twice. Great job." Having said that, there is no way that Etard had anything to do with its production. I don't think he does as poor a job as you guys typically pound him for, but I don't think he is capable of putting together such excellent work, very enjoyable to listen to. Whoever put this episode together should always do them. Keep them coming, guys. We're listening every day. Derek, neighbor to the north.
In E's defense, I think it's easier to put that together for a one-off show. Like trying to put together a week of best of would make that job much more difficult. But I thought production-wise, his music was good. The levels were good. It wasn't. I thought it was mixed fairly well. What I heard. So yeah, thank you, Joel. I know that's a tremendous amount of work, hours and hours and hours to do that. So,
well, Roberto was less impressed. Roberto
Oh,
writes
boy.
in, dude, and he's writing directly to me. I think he thinks like I did the best of or something. Dude, for all the shit you gave Eric about his best of failures, this is the product you bring to market. First off, the sound is horrible. I even went back and listened to some of last
know what
week's
he's
episodes
talking
to be
about.
sure it wasn't my device that was at fault. Sounds like you were doing a show from inside one of those mufflers that hang on the bumper of those souped up import cars. Unlistenable.
he's
I don't
talking about the best of.
Yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
don't know what he's talking about. I
New best
listened
of
to an
sucks is
hour
the
of it.
Ray line.
Wow.
New best of sucks. All camp sucks.
So what is he talking about? I mean, that could be our old mics.
Says second, those fancy fades you threw in between segments are ... shit.
Ooh. Did he write this?
11 and a half minutes in, you
No, I
faded the
liked it.
Foo Fighters for 19 seconds. It was the longest fade in ever. Again, I thought my
Ooh.
device was screwing up and launching music on top of the podcast until the volume got to the point where I got the tie-in. The neast fade was just as bad. Damn it. Now, how are you ever going to pound on Eric for his lackluster performances? You screwed up big time, Mr. Detroit Cast. You screwed up. Listen, I don't know the first thing about producing these things.
Yeah.
So that was not me.
If I was going to take issue with anything, it'd be the fade out. But
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, like
Is Roberto onto something?
he's not wrong. Like once you hit the gag or the bit, like you can move on. You know, the Foo Fighters. You know, once he says the best
Yeah.
of you, you can bang get out of it.
Well, I think he had a
you don't
very...
need to revisit the hook.
I
and
only
then-
had one.
No,
whatever, but that's
Okay.
nitpicking. That's nitpicking.
He
for
was
someone-
right when we loaded this episode last week. And Joel, you know, you got to take the good with bad here. When we loaded this last week, the first thing that jumped out at us was how he allowed the entire intro music to go. And had E done that, we'd have pounded his ass.
Yes.
Like, get the show going, E. We've actually pounded him for that very issue before.
That happened
Mhm.
before, right?
where he lets like
Yeah.
20 seconds of intro music go. And it's like, you going to start the bit or what?
Yeah. I like when you let some of that go, but there's a fine line between
line.
too much of it and not enough, and then it ending cold and then going into a bit sounds ridiculous. Like the fact is, the way those are put together, production value wise, I leave those on there for a minute of music that we're able to then talk over in the intro of a show, and I can ride the levels, pot it up louder if he starts talking and we want to drown him out, pot it all the way down early if we want to get to something more serious.
Ride the levels.
Ride the level. Exactly. It gives us the opportunity. So I always leave myself enough line to hang myself or do whatever we want with it, because I can always pull it down. But for someone like E or Joel, they're stuck with something that's really long. And the first one E did, I think he let the music play for, I don't know, a minute, 20 seconds.
I let
where
it play
just
completely out. I think the first time.
just
I
like,
didn't know how to.
dude,
Honestly, I didn't know
that-
how to make the. I didn't know how to do what I did later.
Oh,
and that is infuriating for someone like me, because I know enough about his background to know he's fully capable of knowing the proper way
You
to
taught
do
him
that.
many times yourself.
Oh,
I hadn't. you know,
inexcusable.
right. Whatever. You're right.
Whatever.
No, I said he's right. My only. And I listened to about an hour of it. My only thing would have been, I'm not even saying I wouldn't have played it, but I wouldn't have played the, I think I would have got hammered for this too, honestly. I wouldn't have played the railing on me for the best ofs. I know what he's thinking because it's the beginning of it. I'm not doing it. He wants to hear like, oh, Eric sucks. But my problem is, and what I've got railed on personally in making best ofs before, is people go, if this was something that someone said, this is a best of, let's listen to it. This would, if a non-listener try this, I think a non-listener would not want to hear 4 minutes of.
But you got to remember, that's Joel's only voice. Like he's only to
get it.
take us and mix us into something. And that was
but you
his
could-
way of saying, hey, E fucks these up. Guess what? This is going to be sweet.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I would have put it coming out of break in the middle of the episode.
Very
is
good
what I would have
point,
done.
Jay, but very good point by E as well. That's a legitimate argument to be made that
Mhm.
if this is supposed to represent to someone who's never heard the show, is this the best representation?
I just think if
I
I
think
clicked that
what
out right
Joel
away at the
did-
beginning, you went. I get what he's trying. I get it.
There's an
agree.
overall art piece that he's trying to build, and it's a 2.5 hour art piece. And so he's looking at it, these levels, like he's listening to it with a different ear than the listener is. So you're never going to make everybody happy, but overall, I thought it was. I thought
agree.
it was fine.
I just think
I
would've
thought it
put that
was
at the
really
break.
good. I'll say on the record, I listened to the whole thing. I thought it was really good. My only criticism, and it just goes to personal preference. Everybody thinks like one bit's better than another. Like I thought there were a few in there that weren't strong enough to be best of,
Yeah,
but
I
that
would
just
agree.
speaks to how other people view it. You know, like
Mhm.
hey, that's personal preference. So
Yeah.
some were a bit too old, I think, but I at the same time I like that he went kind of digging into some older stuff.
Mhm.
Whereas E would never do that.
That's
E would
not
kind of
true.
look back a
That's
few months.
Not true, but okay.
He'd go back to the last week that was available on the website. It makes
I
it
have
easier
never, since I got hammered the one time for repeating
Well,
stuff.
we
I
got
have-
Halsey
no,
and her
no,
double
no.
D's. How
Since-
much time do we have left? Do we have
since-
time for the half-hour clown call?
Since I got hammered for repeating a bit, I have never done one that was within a month and a half to 2 months of an episode.
All right.
I very specifically.
I'll have to take
after
your word
that-
for it.
I mean,
I've never listened to him.
Well,
that doesn't mean they're good or not. I'm just saying I've never done one that's 3 weeks ago.
I think
Never.
most people are like me, where they don't have that fine ear that you guys have, where you're listening to every little transition and all this shit. And if you just listen to it as like, yeah, it's just a piece. and-
background thing.
yeah, I'm just going to listen and enjoy it. I think most people would, and most people would think that was really, really, really well done.
Mm.
When you start nitpicking, you go, that transition could have been a little better, or tighter, or whatever.
Yeah.
That sort of starts messing with your head about
Which
the
is
whole-
what I listen to more than anything in something like that. Like, and that's, but you're right. Most people are going to throw that on in the background. It's going to be playing and they're never going to, half of it's going to go right by him. But, yeah, thank you. Either way, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Joel.
I'd like
Lots
to
of
have him-
work.
like to have him do more of them. I'm sure if he listens back to it, he'll have critical things of it. And go, I'll change that for next time. Oh, I did too much of this, or
Well, there's a point where you just gotta, you can't keep whittling. You just gotta let it go and be like, all right, guys, here it is, post it. You know, I mean, he could probably spend 2 more weeks and tighten things up. And he was saying, the transition from our old mics to new mics, there's things he could have done had he had more time.
sure.
But because you could definitely, dude, these mics are kick ass compared to what
Yeah.
we used to have.
Oh yeah.
And so you hear that go into that transition once you go to older stuff. And he was saying back to me in an email, like he could have done some things to kind of level that out and make it less of a drastic transition.
Mhm.
But dude, whatever. I mean, it's
Yeah, is what it is. And that, as
Very well
as
done, I
time goes on, there'll be more stuff with good mics and it'll balance out. But yeah, overall good work. So thank you, Joel, for that fine work. I mentioned before the break getting into North Carolina, what's going on. They're like in an all-out war right now with Hollywood and legislation as they're receiving a shit ton of backlash for criticism for signing what many have called the most anti-LGBT bill in the country. even from people like Rob Reiner. Rob Reiner, does that dude? Is there anything that guy can just go? Whatever. That guy's got a bitch about everything. Everything.
Yeah, you're right.
He said he won't produce any movies in North Carolina.
Oh.
Won't do it until this hateful law is repealed and the.
Well, you're 70 years. You're like 69 years old. So how many more movies do you have in your left anyway? Exactly.
And I'm not going back there until this law is repealed and LGBT North Carolinians are treated with equal dignity that they deserve. Reiner said, "I won't film another production there."
Oh, no.
He also encouraged all the people in Hollywood to do the same. After Charlotte, and this is the crux of it, after Charlotte had approved an anti-discrimination measures that would have allowed transgender people to use bathrooms corresponding to their gender identity, the Republican-led legislation passed this bill. The HB2 bill is what they're calling it. Governor Pat McCrory signed the House Bill 2 into law Wednesday. Now, that's not entirely true. I saw a lot of stories doing this, and they're kind of cherry picking about the transgender issues because it gets into the whole thing like, do you want your daughter taking a whiz or a shit in the school bathroom and some tranny dude comes strolling in it? Like they're trying to pin it like that's the thing. But I think what a lot of these people are really pissed off about was that it was trying to get in there like, if you don't believe in gay marriage, you don't have to serve them, like stuff like that whole big argument.
Gotcha.
So while a lot of the things I read was like, are we really, like, you're willing to pull the whole movie industry and all these major corporations were jumping on board like, this is bullshit. And I'm like, are they really over the tranny bathroom issue? That's what this whole fight is about? It just didn't seem possible. And well, it's not.
It's more than that. So is the movie industry enormous down there? Have they like pulled up stakes in Michigan and gone down there for tax breaks?
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep. The mayor of San Francisco has also taken matters into his own hands by banning city employees from traveling to the state after hearing that McCrory had signed the bill into law. Mayor Edwin Uri,
like traveling as in just for work, or
if it's on taxpayer.
I was gonna say like you're leisurely if they want to go to Myrtle Beach. Like
he said that his city will stand united as San Franciscans.
Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
Yeah, South Carolina.
What's that?
That's South Carolina.
Myrtle Beach.
Oh,
right.
You mean Myrtle Beach?
Yeah, wrong state. Whatever.
Well, they could go visit Vanna White in North Carolina.
There you
Isn't
go.
she from North Carolina?
Yes,
I think so. He said that we will condemn North Carolina as a new discriminatory law that turns back the clock on protecting the rights of all Americans, including lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender individuals.
By what?
Can you say bisexual again?
Bisexual. Effective immediately, I am directing city departments under my authority to ban any publicly funded city employees travel to the state of North Carolina.
That sounds like a mix between Chinese and Cartman. Like to me, like
kitty, my pet.
My pet. You can't go to North Carolina.
When you said the transsexual, or
Yeah,
whatever.
can you say bisexual one more time?
Bisexual.
There you go.
His chair's off. Let me be clear. San Francisco taxpayers will not subsidize rigorous sanctioned discrimination against lesbos, gays, homos, trannies, or any other people in the city or state.
Good to know.
Not only could the opposition to the law affect filming, it may affect the sports industry as well. ESPN has been considering North Carolina for the Summer X Games, but they said their organization embraces diversity and inclusion. The NBA also hinted that this law could affect the planned 2017 All-Star Game in Charlotte. The Hornets and the Carolina Hurricanes both said that their opposition to all forms of discrimination. The NCAA is scheduled to hold the men's basketball tournament games in Greensboro in 2017 and Charlotte in 2018, and said they take diversity into account when making these rules. Georgia is a top destination. The big show being filmed in Georgia right now is obviously The Walking Dead. AMC's show, The Walking Dead, which is arguably the biggest television show on TV right now. They filmed there, and they said that they implied that they would cease shooting there if the bill becomes law.
Wow, man.
I mean, so at that point, that's telling you all you need to know. If ESPN, the NBA, the NHL, AMC, Rob Reiner, all are pulling the plug, that is going to destroy this thing. And I think that, did the governor say something today?
I think the governor vetoed it.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I wish people would say the same thing about, you could do the same thing in a city like San Francisco with the sanctuary cities and have people go, we're not allowing city employees to fly somewhere where they've got sanctuary cities. Like,
yeah, it just shows
nitpick
it shows the power of that group, like they really applied a lot of pressure there. You just read the list. That's a lot of pressure for state government to consider, oh shit, all this industry is going to pull out and we're going to lose all that tax dollar.
Yeah. $2 billion, I think they made last year.
Yeah. Under increasing pressure from major corporations that do business in Georgia, Governor Nathan Deal announced Monday he will veto a bill that critics say would have curtailed the rights of Georgia's LGBT community. So, yeah.
They say the bathroom use, it has proved to be a really big wedge issue across the country. Obviously, we know that. And you can see both sides to the argument for sure. Houston's anti-discrimination law was overwhelmingly voted down last year. They're like, yeah, fuck that. I did not want these dudes in our daughter's fucking bathroom. Sorry. The movement, LGBTQ movement, won't likely table the bathroom issue, they say, to focus on other areas of discrimination. The issues of discrimination and violence against tranny people in the context of bathrooms are so overwhelming that to them it is a cutting-edge problem. Overwhelmingly, it's transgender people who are the victims of violence in the bathroom setting. This is a basic human need. Advocates will likely try to win more acceptance from society about transgender people and their particular challenges. That's the way I think you should go, and that's the way that takes time. Like, if forcing people, telling people you're a monster, Jay, because you don't want Carl throwing a wig on and taking a whiz in front of Sweet Pie makes you a monster. You're going, dude, what fucking world did I just step into that I'm all of a sudden overnight a monster for something that was just kind of, we all played by the same rules for 1,000 years.
Right.
And so if you want to slowly integrate and educate people about this stuff, it's obvious where this is going, where history is going with this subject. But I think it's really unfair to make people just flip a switch overnight.
Yeah, it's going to be completely integrated in 3 years. So just relax, slow down a little bit, let people get used to it, right?
And the fact is, nobody's worried about Chaz Bono walking into the men's bathroom. That's not a concern for people. People are not worried about Chaz Bono walking into the men's stall and squatting, because he doesn't have a dick anyways, sitting down and squatting and taking out a whiz behind a closed door in the stall at the school. Like, nobody's concerned about that. They're worried about the dude,
because everybody knows dudes. Dudes know dudes more than anybody.
Yes, and chicks know dudes.
I don't care. Okay, maybe there's a slice of these dudes who are really mentally ill enough to think that they're really chicks, but there's a big slice that just want to go over there and look under the stall or poke their
or just be in there. Just be in there when it's happening. Just there's a chick next to me.
She's peeing.
She's naked and she's peeing.
Oh my god.
And maybe that's totally innocent, but I don't think you can just rule out all those people's feelings, all those other people, their rights too, to go into the bathroom and feel like that's a safe space for them too.
Right.
They're entitled to a safe space. I mean, imagine you go into the bathroom and you hear, and then you go, oh, that's being occupied. And you go down to the next stall and you hear
thumb over a garden hose.
And then you go to the third one down and you just hear some dude getting a nice healthy stream going in there. You're going to know it's a dead giveaway.
Yeah.
It's a dead giveaway. Sounds like someone's pouring a cup of water into a toilet. Doesn't have the same effect. You're going to know, there's a guy in here. My bathroom space. I don't feel safe.
Matt writes in, we talked about the school guidance that came out in Michigan last week, I think. It was a overall guidance that was written on the issue of trannies using bathrooms and how kids ought to be allowed to do that. He says, "Dear fellas, yes, I'm too lazy to come up with some clever adjectives for you three. I'm writing to you about the new Michigan school guidelines."
Year 3?
For you 3.
Oh, for you 3. I thought you said year 3. I was like, what?
I'm writing to you about the new Michigan school guidelines that allow any mentally ill, trans student to decide which gender they will be on any given day, which subsequently allows them to choose which bathroom they will be using that day. I'm a high school teacher and received an email from the state of Michigan Department of Ed on the subject. From what I can tell, no school is required to take any particular action in regard to training students. Rather, it is, according to the state, a set of guidelines to assist schools who are having problems with this issue. We haven't had any issues at my school, but I can assume that that won't be the case for long. You can see the attached document for further information on this idiotic precedent. Thanks for the awesome show you guys do. There's nothing better to help me get in a good mood to face each school day than the DCAS. Goodbye, BUI, Matt. And then he attaches kind of a synopsis of what we read last week as the guidance.
My question is, and I obviously neither of us have been in a school in a long, long time, but how big of an issue is this in school? I mean, is this something where every school today has 3 or 4 kids that are walking around as a transgender teen, or is this like,
I don't know.
I mean, seriously, I have no idea what the breakdown is.
I think kids over the last little bit after you and I probably left, they got more comfortable stepping forward as gay or lesbian. And so there's those couple who kind of take that step and step out there and go, hey, you know, I am who I am. And I'm sure that there'll be some who want to champion this cause just the same. Well, you know what? This is accepted in other states or other places, and I'm going to step out and I'm going to be that person to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't think it's the norm in any, like, I haven't heard my kids mention that there's cross-dressing going on at their schools at all. I don't think it's that prevalent, but I wouldn't doubt if it becomes fairly prevalent over the next 5 years.
Yeah, I just have no concept of that. Like,
prevalent meaning there's 1 or 2, you know, in each school.
Right.
This is interesting. Unfortunately, Chappelle, it's obviously, as you know from seeing him, he's very strict as far as not getting audio or video of his sets. But apparently he was doing some comedy either over the weekend, it looks like, or something, and he was doing a Caitlyn Jenner joke right in front of Kylie Jenner.
Oh, really?
And it did not go well with her. It did not go over that well.
Sorry.
I'd like to read. I'd have to read this but it's just an account of it. And for it sounds like it was a 7-minute bit.
That's hammering
awesome. And
hammering Bruce.
Gosh, long time Kanye West. Anyway, I wish I'd have to read this more. But unfortunately, like I said, because of how he is, we're not probably going to get to see or hear this.
Someone will film it. Yeah, he's brutal.
No, but it won't be this time. It won't be, it'd be nice to hear this time, see this time with Kylie Jenner.
Yeah.
Right there. But that would be great, dude, to see that.
Well, if you can find video of it, I'd love to check it out for sure. The Nigerian government is sending parents from this Chibok community to a neighboring Cameroon to verify whether a suspected female suicide bomber is one of the girls.
The Left Behind girls or whatever. What was the hashtag? Bring back our girls.
Yeah, bring back our girls. From 2 years ago, the abduction of about 270 schoolgirls. They have not had much. I mean, this just hasn't, like 50 of them escaped, right? So that leaves us with 220.
Yeah.
And 219 of these girls remain missing.
Oof.
So, yeah, which is weird because I specifically remember there were many, many thoughts and prayers being sent out. And there was also a hashtag that was developed.
It's a big issue for a little bit. And then something else came up, Ebola or some shit.
Yeah. I mean, look at there's the first lady.
Yep.
Holding hers.
Bring back our girls.
Hashtag bring back our girls. And that absolutely had no effect on this. They found 0 of these girls. Yeah. Ours has been altered to say the sign she's holding says, I eat my own poop. But
let me see.
An often memed image.
That seems a little weird for the first lady to be holding a sign that says that, but I don't know. Whatever.
Take it up with Beth. She brought this over. I don't know.
Beth.
Yeah. One of the girls arrested in northern Cameroon carrying explosives claimed to be one of the missing schoolgirls. The girls were arrested after being stopped by local forces in Lamani near the border with Nigeria, which has been, I guess, a frequent spot for these suicide bomb attacks. We hope the parents will be able to identify the girl and determine whether she is indeed one of the missing students. And then they want to drill her, not literally, but they want to get into her head and see, like, okay, can you give us any details about where these other girls are? Maybe we can bring back more of them.
Well, with Good Luck Jonathan not in control anymore,
it's no surprise to anyone. Was that on his watch when they went?
That
missing?
was on his watch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thought he had that shit.
He did. GLJ 69.
Backed by popular demand, Zotford is conducting its amazing Key for Key event. Right now, exchange your current vehicle for a brand new 2016 Ford without spending a dime out of your pocket. Also, they may be able to match or lower your monthly payment. Zott Ford will assist you in terminating the remainder of your loan or lease, no matter what you owe. Plus, Zott Ford will make your first month's payment. So hurry. When March ends, so does Key for Key.
Gary Shandling died while we were off over the break. Isn't that weird?
I guess he's just one of those people. I don't know. Just haven't thought about Gary Shandling in a long time.
Yeah, I liked Gary Shandling too. I thought his stand-up was really good.
He's
back in the day,
pretty unique character.
And then obviously he had the Gary. It's the Gary Shandling show on HBO for many years, which was, you know, that's one of those cult classic shows. People love that show. 66 years old, and the story is today that, according to TMZ, that his doctor is reportedly refusing to sign the death certificate. Has prompted the coroner's office to investigate.
Well,
yeah, he's repeatedly refused to sign the document because he believed that Shandling, who hadn't been examined by a doctor for more than a year, was in fine health. Though it had been reported Shandling died from a massive heart attack, his doctor claims he has no idea why or how the patient died. This sounds like a non-story. I mean, if he didn't go to the doctor for a year.
Sounds like a technicality. Like the doctor's like, well, I haven't examined him, so I'm not comfortable signing this.
Yeah.
And they're going, was he murdered? Was he murdered?
Was he stabbed to death? It's triggered, though. His refusal to sign this has triggered an official investigation by the LA County coroner, who will determine the cause of death. Investigators have taken blood work from the emergency room where he was pronounced dead. The other thing that was revealed was that he'd been planning to go to the emergency room shortly before his death on Thursday. TMZ reported that he'd been experiencing shortness of breath and aches on Wednesday. So he called over a doctor friend who gave him a checkup and told him that if he was still in pain tomorrow, he should go to the hospital. And then he didn't make it to the hospital in time. He called 911 and collapsed while they were on the phone
like
with
a
him.
physical ailment.
Yeah, it sure does. Anyway, the fire department arrived at 10:30 in the morning and had to kick in the door. Obviously, he couldn't get up and answer the door. So
Poor Gary.
Yeah.
That was a pretty
66.
groundbreaking show, though, I think. Like, that kind of opened the door to more off the beaten path kind of shows, right? That was pretty early in HBO's run of like comedy shows like that.
Well, there was a lot of talk of him because he guest hosted for Johnny Carson.
Yeah, Tonight Show.
Yeah, and he did really, really well. And so that's kind of and so there was a lot of talk that when Carson retired, Gary Shandling would take over, and he apparently didn't have any interest in that. So he did a parody show. The Gary Shandling show is a parody, basically. He said over the years that he kind of like because it was basically filmed behind the scenes of what goes on at a show like Letterman or Carson. And so that's what that show focused on was the producers and everybody backstage and booking things. It was a great show, though. It was early. Yeah, you're right, though. It was kind of early in the whole HBO world. But anyway.
Mike, we have some email. Should we get to email?
Yeah, we can get to email.
We have some matters to attend to, including one that Matt brings to my attention. Dude, let me preface this by saying you, Jay, are extremely relatable to me. You generally express my opinion on things and say things that I would say.
Boy.
No, hold on. I'm about to get ripped. We live in the same area, and our boys actually played soccer against each other before. See, that's an example. Like, I don't know.
Kind of creepy, isn't it? It's creepy to you.
Say hi to me afterwards.
Yeah, say hi to him.
So
he won't bite you, usually.
Right. Anyway, like many people, I find Eric to be extremely off-putting on the show. Listening to the end of your last episode where he defends his life choices. So I think we're hearkening back to Thursday, Friday episode of last week. Actually, a couple days in a row, he was defending his life choices pretty strongly, was he not?
Yep.
And I will continue to do so.
This made me realize, says Matt, that it's not E that I'm mad at, it's you, meaning me.
Oh, boy.
I can't for the life of me figure out how the fuck you have aligned yourself with this guy. You're a normal family man, a professional, a decent human. I just can't wrap my mind around what this loser brings to the table as part of your show. I believe I'm being ripped upon like this, Mike.
Oh, yeah. This is a beating you're taking.
Right. What a
sound beating.
Yeah. Wow. Are you going to go home and cry about this?
I actually tried to support you guys by going to Zott Ford to buy a new F-150. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate that. I just happened to catch a glimpse of Eric walking across the parking lot, and it really hit me that this guy is an actual person. He's a weird 30-plus-year-old man with a job befitting of a high school kid. And he walks around flipping his hair like it's painfully obvious that this guy is just a loser. And that's fine. The world needs losers. But it honestly makes me lose respect for you, Mike, and the show to think that guy would have anything to offer your show and that you guys decide to keep him there as anything other than an occasional novelty act to laugh at.
Oh, wow. Again, where are you getting beat in? Where's the beat up process? Where are you getting
He said, lose respect for me, Mike, and the show.
Oh, it's the hefty respect of an individual you've never met.
That guy's taking it. You, Jay, I'm sorry. You had to read that. But
it is a great question, though, that Matt.
I'm not saying it's not fair.
He says, I feel kind of bad writing this and probably wouldn't have if I didn't meet another listener recently who shared my opinion. I am finding myself really losing interest in the show because of the E situation. I wish I could reconcile why you guys would invite this, quote, person into your lives. Like I said, I find you extremely relatable, and that's what keeps me tuned in. But I lose that relatability because I can't picture a situation where I would willingly hang out with someone like that. See, I got ripped again.
Oh,
yeah.
Damn. These are body shots left and right.
I just can't picture a scenario where I would become friends or even coworkers with a weird, socially inept, almost retarded, he can't even read words, man-child who can't even live on his own yet. It would be like hanging out with that greeter at Meijer who has his eyes that point in different directions and knows like 10 words. What would I possibly get out of that relationship? Why would I seek that out and bring it to my life? Asked Matt.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about listening to the show lately. I don't actually have to listen, but I continue to do so because of you and Mike. Good luck. Hopefully you guys figure it all out someday. Maybe you could do a Genesis episode someday, at least explaining how it came about that you end up in the same circle as this guy. Haven't we talked about that?
First off, Jay, I'm sorry you had to read that about yourself. That can't be easy. That's tough.
Say goodbye to Greg.
Look, listen. Let me
say something first.
Go ahead.
There's one reason E is here. Mike likes him.
I know. I'm sure.
It's not just that I like E, because honestly, I don't even like E very much. He's not very friendly. He's not very nice. He doesn't care about anything. He doesn't like us.
No.
But
I
a show
like you.
I don't think you do. I don't think you do.
Kinda.
But that's not what I see in E. The thing is, if you really take a kind of a bird's eye view of this show, you're taking three personalities that are really uniquely different.
Don't lose sight of the forest amongst the trees.
Exactly. Like there's no business of J and E being in a room together, which is why I like putting J and E in a room together, because they shouldn't be in a room together.
No.
I shouldn't be in a room with E. Jay and I have completely different life worlds. And so I think if we were two guys that were married with kids, we would have the same opinion on things like, well, what are the kids doing this week? Like I don't think that dynamic works. As to me personally, like putting together a show, I think it's unique, and I think it's fun to have Jay have a different perspective on family issues than I have, or E to have a totally different outlook on life than either one of us. And so that's the point. Now, whether our retard is good enough or gets too much light on a show like this, maybe, you could argue that. Line. But that's why. It's not because, I'm just such good friends with E. No, there's a reason why I personally like that. And if it proves that people hate that, then okay, we'll deal with that. But whatever.
It'd be interesting to take a poll. Like it'd be impossible to do. But to take a poll,
very polarizing. Do we really need a poll?
No,
half the people don't like him. Chicks tend to like him.
It would be interesting to see how many would say keep him on, how many would say get him off.
We tried that once, and it didn't. Not that many people responded for some reason. I thought we did. There was a poll on the website one time. Literally, should I go or leave? And I thought it was like there was like 10 responses.
No, I think the poll was more like, does he name something he adds?
No.
Value.
No, there was because I voted leave. There was this. So,
you remember voting leave?
Yes,
distinctly.
So.
No, it's impossible to have every listener vote. Just people won't do it. They won't get around to it. They're not interested, whatever. Yeah. But it would be very interesting. I bet it'd be like half and half.
Probably.
If not 60-40 the other way.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. It's lately for sure. Right. It's going negative against the.
Yeah, maybe.
That's what I feel in my gut. But
yeah, you could do a poll like that. There's probably people that think I should leave. There's probably people
who hate
should
me.
Leave. Whatever.
That's
what it is.
So it makes
those people can all start a show and they can never hire Big E. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's true. It is very possible to make your own podcast in this day and age, or whatever.
You've got it, E. Well done. So Christian writes in, King, all the King's horses and all the King's men. I was at church this Saturday, which we all know is Walter's favorite place.
Sure.
With my nephew, and one of the elders was asking the kids, have they ever thrown a celebration, hearkening, of course, to the coming celebration of Jesus's resurrection on Sunday. The way he worded it caught my attention. Looking at the kids, he says, "What have you done? Can you tell me?"
What has he done? Can you tell me? Big Magic Johnson, what has he done?
Before my brain could catch up with my mouth, I quietly said, "Big Magic Johnson." But I guess not quietly enough, because it garnered sideways glances from a few parents near me in the room. I regret nothing. I definitely didn't give him those aids.
I ain't giving those aids. Lawrence, post haste, please. Juice, post haste.
Christian.
A fitting name.
Yeah, going to church on Easter. You're right. Jason writes in, "Gentlemen, once again, I feel the need to present some facts to your false narratives and innuendo regarding the president. Issues you bring up with disdain regarding the president are often historically on par with what Republican presidents have done, or the Republicans have done worse. Executive orders, funeral attendance, location during crises. In regard to President Obama not leaving the baseball game, President Reagan many times stayed on vacation while crises occurred. President Bush stayed at an elementary school for nearly 20 minutes before meeting with his advisors.
That one is ridiculous.
Come on,
I think
for
sure.
President Bush definitely moved. I mean, for 20 minutes, yeah, you could, and people tried to make that argument, but I think he did a fairly good job of taking control and being presidential in that moment. Whether you liked what he did going forward or not is debatable, but
Jason continues, for nearly 20 minutes before meeting with his advisors after the first plane hit the World Trade Center. If you guys are going to be upset with President Obama, at least don't act like he's the only one to do it. The thing is, we're commenting on what Obama's doing. We're not commenting on historically what presidents do. We're sitting there watching Obama on ESPN comment about, no big deal over there in Brussels.
with shades on or dancing the tango with some chick. And
so
it just
he's
seems
president right now. We're commenting on him.
And I don't think
G-Dub was president right now, we'd be commenting on what he does.
Yep.
I don't think
that's what we're doing.
I don't think it should ever be. Yeah, you're right. It's who two wrongs don't make a right. I don't think you should sit here and say, well, George W. Bush said this, so it's okay for him.
Personally, none of these actions bother me. I believe all the situations were being handled and the presidents were as informed as necessary at the time. See, to me, it's not just whether he was informed. It's what his reaction was. That's what bothered me. It was just how flip he seemed sitting at that game. Carl, we got it.
Yeah.
We got that shit, essentially, is what he's been trying to convey.
Yeah. And there just seems like a kind of a pattern of that behavior, whether it's the Paris attacks, and every world leader on the planet showed up in France except our president.
It's inarguable. He doesn't think this is a serious issue.
Yeah.
Not as serious as it needs to be.
Send Kerry over there to get into a bike accident and look like a dipshit with his helmet on.
Oh, I forgot about that.
The bike accident.
Yeah.
Send my wife to the funeral. It just doesn't seem very leaderish. That's what it comes down to. And whether other people have done it through history, yeah, sure, you can point to examples. And I don't know, it just doesn't feel very leaderish at times to see him doing the tango out somewhere. It doesn't seem very presidential to call the family 2 or 3 days after you get back of the Americans that were killed in Brussels.
God, they're just sweeping up smithereens right now. They just identified another American couple.
So there's four dead now. There's 4 dead now.
4 important people dead, and then a series of other unimportant people dead.
Yeah, the important Americans that died. But he called him. It was like he got back into town on Friday and then blew a call in a couple days later. It was like, yeah, and it's the stock. Like, give me some bullet points on what these 2 clowns have done. I don't know anything about him. It's like, well, he went to on the phone with him. Well, he graduated from Kentucky, and this one did this, and just know that thoughts and prayers of the country are with you in this time, in your time of trouble right now. Well, gotta go. See ya. And you're just like, oh, okay.
Jason loves Obama. If we were a different president, we'd be saying the same shit right now.
Maybe.
We're tired of politics as, politics as usual.
That's fair. But you bring up a very good point, Jay, in that this is the guy that's sitting in the office right now. So that's the guy we're talking about.
Brian writes in. A few weeks ago, you guys, more and more people are doing that.
Yeah.
I just read them.
Right.
Brian writes in, a few weeks ago, you guys played the video that newscasters or broadcasters' nose leaking like Niagara Falls. Come to find out, I actually have a similar problem. And yes, I can control it most of the time. Once in a great while I'll be walking around the office, and then out of nowhere, my nose starts to leak. After a year of going through this shit, I went to an ENT doctor and have what's called chronic sinusitis. It's when your nasal cavities.
That doesn't sound real.
Dude.
Sinusitis?
Listen to this. It's when your nasal cavities get pollen and fungus stuck and it starts growing, basically infects your nasal cavity. Working in the IT industry, I deal with a ton of dust. Come to find out, this is what's been causing my issues. Needless to say, I've been going through this for a year and about 3-4 times a week. I get a distinct burning skin smell up my nose, and discharge comes out and almost gags most of the time when blowing my nose.
Oh.
I've tried numerous remedies and nasal rinses from CVS and Rite Aid, and all that helps, but not half the time, unfortunately. Bottom line is that I need to have surgery to remove all the crap that's in my right sinus. This will knock me out of work for about a week. Awesome. That's great news.
Vacation time.
Sorry for the gross email, but that's the easiest way to explain it. Bottom line is that I know exactly what the lady was going through, but I couldn't help laugh at it.
No, she was just really cold out where she was.
Nose was dripping.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't say that she has this
She
whatever
doesn't
thing
have
I've never heard
sinusitis.
of.
You can't declare she's got sinusitis.
Chronic sinusitis.
Yeah.
Sinusitis. That might be my favorite itis.
Really? Wow.
I'll have to compare it to other itises.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't help but laugh. Thank you for giving my free's worth. I will continue to use the Amazon link and do monthly donations on PayPal. Thank you to everybody who does that. That's great. Continue to donate to the show. It helps us immensely. With that, Mike, I think we'll save the rest for tomorrow.
Sounds good. Let's do that. I'll hold this story that I was doing saving specifically for Sarah Titties.
What do we got? Dead baby?
Well, no, that's why I was going to do it, because it's not a dead baby, and she hates dead baby stories.
Baby in a deli slicer?
Nope.
What do we got?
The baby's going to be okay, but it was chucked into a trash compactor, and the lady almost hit the button to like compact it, and then just heard some like faint baby cry after she tossed her garbage in. And then she jumped in with her husband and started digging around. They found an umbilical cord attached to a little wee one. Yeah, I know. But I figured she'd want to hear that story because the baby lived. So it's a happy story.
Literally thrown in the garbage.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think that's
if awful way to start life.
If you're going to go that route, you got to kill the baby. You can't throw a live one in there, right? I mean, if that's
just hoping that a passerby is going to hit the button.
No, that's just not.
Total
Total
out
denial.
moment.
Like click into denial. Didn't happen. Get that thing out of me.
Yeah. Anyway.
Poor Baba.
Yeah. Poops. He's going to be okay. And he's away from that horrible mother. So this is a great news story. He's getting a good head start now.
Thank you for reporting on that.
Yeah. That was for you, Sarah, if you're listening. No dead babies. All righty. Let's call it. If you're ready, Jay. Take us out of broadcast.
Take us out of broadcast, D.
We'll see you tomorrow.
You've been listening to the Detroit Cast with your hosts, Mike and Jay. From all of us at Radio for One Studios, thank you for listening. And as always, thank you, Detroit.
Listen to God, watch you grow. You know not what remains shallow. Understand.